This conference will now be recorded.
All right, recording in progress. Andre, no, we cannot see you. All right, I'm gonna have my chat hidden, so I don't know. That's someone else's problem.
Yeah, Dave and I will be watching the.
But yeah, let's get started. All right, doing this. Oh, I don't want presenter view.
All right, how do we move the webcams out of the way for when you share a SolidWorks screen again?
It should kind of move itself out of the way.
Yeah, but then the cameras get too. I thought there was a way to undock
So if
it.
you would like to detach your camera's window
can-
from the main window, you can do that. Over on the right-hand side to the bottom, there should be a plus minus, looks like a zoom option. Right below that, there's a detach cameras button.
Plus minus.
I think that'll come up once
Tell you
he
what.
starts presenting.
I will.
Okay.
I don't see it now. Yeah.
I already detached mine, so I can't see it either.
There's a. All right. All right. So I'm going to start sharing. Yeah, see now it makes mine extra tiny.
Right.
Here, tell you what.
Oh, plus minus. Yeah. So where is detached
Wow,
cameras?
very
That's it.
tiny.
Yeah. Okay, so now the cameras are a different. Oh, the cameras are a different window. Okay, it works.
Sweet.
It only works when someone is
Yeah, it's like
sharing.
a little camera icon that's.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's just what you said about the plus minus and the zoom. Yep. Yeah.
The clock is running and we cleared the tower.
Hey, that was a pretty good launch, huh?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's get started. Welcome everyone. This is, as we've been talking about, a new experiment we're trying. I don't know what the rest of you guys, but I'm kind of sick of the one-way webinar. I wanted to give a try to something that's a little more interactive. So I want to, we, the Chumps and I want to hear what your problems are, and we're going to try to fix them, as a community, something we haven't really been able to do for the last several months. So yeah, this is just going to be a very interactive meeting, if at all possible. And here we go. So starting with some of our Chumps, we've got Cam Smith from Aberdeen Proving Ground SWUGN. Say hi, Cam.
Hello, hi Cam.
Glenn LePage from Central Mass.
Hi, everyone.
We got me. Hi, everybody. David Antavantavagadigan from Long Island.
Nailed it.
Eric Beatty from Seattle.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
Thought so. And Todd Blacksher from SWUGN. Hey, Todd.
Hey, y'all.
Not to be confused
Anybody else
with Todd
want to
Blackside.
say a couple words before we kind of jump in?
For the record, there's another David A in here who's not me. I'm just saying. That's why there's someone else in here named Dave A. So
that's it. All right.
other David A who's joined the call that we don't know. We're not singling you out. We've just been confused. So
No, you're tribbles.
But David, there are two David Antanoviches.
You just don't know how to use
yes, I am the
He's a
real.
tribble.
Two of them, though. There are two of those.
In about 20 minutes, there'll be 3
And
or
we
4
also- we
more
do want to,
Dave A's.
They're asexual, reproducing at will.
And we do want to urge everyone to share their cameras and share their audio, because we do want this to be a very interactive meeting. Don't be shy. We don't know what we're doing either. So hop on. We'll be happy to see you. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Just, I want to thank you, Dan, for putting this together. I think it's a fantastic idea, whether this flies free and easy all night or if it's a crash and burn. But if it does suck, it's his fault.
Yep. Yeah. No argument there. And if it goes well, it's everybody else's fault. So.
Exactly.
Nice. And me and Eric are monitoring the chat. So if anybody has any questions or they want to jump in with whatever they have to try to stump us, just jump in there, drop in the chat, let us know, and then we'll respond and pick them up.
No worries. And again, like
Yep.
Kevin Bauman noted in the chat, if you don't have a webcam or a mic, again, reiterating what Dave just said, we're watching it, so we've got all forms of communication hopefully covered.
So that brings us to this point. Even if you haven't pre-submitted a question to us, we still want to hear about your SOLIDWORKS problems. Basically, we're expecting that the content that we've put together is going to start, long tangential conversations, and that's kind of exactly what we're in the mood for. Let's just kind of make this a really cool powwow of people who can help each other use SOLIDWORKS and, BYOB. So if you do have a question or something pops up in your head that is reminding you that you're having a problem at work, let us know in the chat, not just to interject into the meeting itself. Dave and Eric will get back to you and talk to you very briefly about what it is, and then we'll kind of throw to you. And if you are available to share your screen and talk about what that problem is, or just talk, it doesn't have to be a screen share. In any way you want to present and get the information to this community, that'll work. All right, sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's start off. So our first question came from some schmuck down in San Diego. I don't know this guy. Does anyone know if there's a technical reason you cannot extend the surface in the negative direction? Or it's just a long unfulfilled enhancement request. Reverse extend could also be called retract. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like we got any tech support guys or product definition guys on this meeting, which I was really hoping for.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that
does anyone have any?
Somebody that's been a pro-y person or something that understands that under the hood of surfacing more would maybe know there's a technical reason, not just we haven't done it yet.
Cause a warp in the space-time continuum.
I guess the question is, what's? Yeah. Yeah, you could thicken and then move face and then delete face. That's my workaround. That's not a good reason.
Yeah, I would think that, because with the
It's
extend,
an auspicious start.
The linear extend as well as the extend that follows the natural flow of the surface. So
Yeah, you'd think it'd be easier to retract it if that's the case, right? Because they already know where the surface is. They don't have to calculate anything.
Yeah, they don't have to do any forward-thinking math. It's just, let me just backstep some and basically
Right.
tiptoe across the UV lines and trim away.
Would it be hard
as it
to?
were.
If it's a funky surface, would it be hard to calculate what that distance would be for every point? If you've got a very kind of arc surface.
Fail pretty often. I would expect retracts may be more reliable
6 millimeter retraction.
Right.
Yeah, just like extend doesn't work all the time. I'm sure retract wouldn't work all the time either,
Probably not.
Yeah, but again, I think our consensus is that the
Therefore,
retract would be
not worth doing,
easier to
obviously.
pull off.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned, Dan,
This
that
is why someone from PD should have been here.
Because one of the ways if you've got a corner on a surface where there's a sharp inside corner, let's say, and you want to put a fillet on it, that's one way. You'd thicken it all up, put the fillet on it, and then delete the faces again, so you end up with the original surface with a fillet on it.
Get rid of the external. Yep. Yeah, and if you can do a move face and offset by a certain distance, why you can't just do that with an edge of a surface?
There you go.
All right, so
Move
we're
it.
starting off with something that needs to get fixed.
Yeah, Dan, I just realized that they're not in any particular order, so off around, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
Paul
I mean,
Parise,
there's no order to it, so
Yep.
let's give it a try.
well, to toss in here, Paul Parise just brought up in the chat, he poses the question, how would this retract function differ from a trim function?
Well, in my mind, you just
Trim
put
needs
in a negative
another
number and
body or sketch.
yeah, you wouldn't need a sketch. Exactly.
Yeah, you just step back, quote unquote, linear through the.
Right.
So I guess,
Retract, the only option would be to go back kind of in a normal to the surface. Whereas with the trim, you can project that trim edge from any other angle.
Yeah, that's true. You could come in at the other angle. You could have any manner of wonky, in and out, kind of like jigsaw type piece, puzzle piece fitting.
Yeah, for those curious, this is the extend function we're talking about here, where you can just grab a selection of edges of open surfaces and then just give it a distance. I should bring this over to this screen. So why can you extend in a positive direction, but not backwards and retract it?
Well, now that I've seen it on screen, I almost wonder if they consider this the difference between a boss and a cut,
Basically, but I don't know, even because if you're doing like a instant 3D thing, you wouldn't
Yeah,
need an
you can
actual
bounce
sketch.
back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here with my sketch, I can trim, to get rid of any distance I want, but then I need a sketch.
Right, and to Eric's point, if it was a more free-form curvy surface, it would be difficult to sketch what you want. So
Right.
somebody mentioned the idea of thicken. Was that thicken and then move the face and
Yeah,
then
that's what I
recreate the
thought.
surface? That might
So
be a
you
good
take-
workaround.
Mm-hmm.
You thicken by this, you then, no, but that's gross too. Look at that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's not gonna work.
And
No.
if you wanted to do a retract along some type of free-form flowing surface, the move faces, and you're going to have to do a lot of XYZ gymnastics to track things along to pull off a stump like that.
Well, that's interesting.
So my favorite, I always go right to the forums for stuff like this, and we are certainly not the first ones to play with this. There are a couple SPRs and some other things, but it looks like there are some workarounds where you can use a ruled surface and do what people are calling a double reverse extend.
What?
Yeah,
Won't that get you put on double secret probation?
Exactly. You're with me now. You're with me. But yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty complex, and I just from the conversation with her, I mean, it sounds like it might just be a computational complexity thing. I mean, when you think about pulling back a surface versus extending it out forever, but yeah, it looks like there are some ways to get around it using a ruled surface, then an offset, or face curves and a split line, and it could require many steps, but it sounds like it's going to be kind of a complex thing to do.
That sounds hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was able to figure that out. Looks so thicken, move those faces down, delete. But I have a feeling that your top edge here is not going to be the same as it was before. But good question.
Good on.
So, I mean,
all right.
does this mean that we got stumped on the first question? Does Phil win or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because we don't work there. That's how we got stumped.
Yeah, we don't know the answer.
Yeah, it's definitely something that looks like it should exist and doesn't.
Or maybe we could say that the true answer is the question to, I guess that would be called a retract to surface, And I'll say yes. Yes, it would be.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I will draw that button for you. You can put it right in there.
You concur?
I think we all concur. All
We
right,
concur.
moving on. So here is kind of a fun one. I actually preset something for this. What is the largest part you can create in SolidWorks?
I did too. This was fun.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we're talking about dimensionally, not like RAM-wise or memory-wise. But check this out. So I'm in meters. I have a sketch that's 500 meters long. No issue here. If I change this to 501, it gives me an error. So 500 meters is the biggest sketch, the biggest object you can create in a part in SolidWorks.
Correct.
And it's as
Which
simple
I
as,
believe is 1 kilometer.
Yep.
yeah, assemblies.
So assemblies is different.
Assemblies are different, yeah.
Is 100 kilometers.
Well, there's a little more nuance to that. So if you take it back to 500 and you extrude a thin or something, just make a solid out of it.
Any size?
Yeah, you just can't make it longer than 500, but you can, yeah. And now mirror that across the, I guess it would be the right plane or something.
God, my
So
planes
I
are
guess-
too small to see.
I think I know what you're getting at, Phil. The actual answer is not 100 kilometers. It's 102 kilometers.
102?
It is.
Well, no. If you mirror it, the object's going to be a kilometer long, right? It was 500 meters, and now it's going to be a meter long. I mean,
Oh,
a
yeah, it's 101.
kilometer long. So that's the largest object you can make. But the sketches can only be 500.
Can I pattern this?
Not bigger than the 1 kilometer.
If it stayed inside a 1 kilometer cubic, you
Mhm.
could pattern it inside of that. But anything bigger than that, I think it fails.
Once you cross
soon as
that
can you
bounding,
extend it?
that 1 kilometer cube bounding box, that's when they bring out the dogs and the.
So fun fact,
Well-
I actually learned about
Yeah.
this one back at a presentation that I saw from Paul Parise when he was modeling the universe, which is a fun one. Nobody's seen it.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I had a presentation, the solar system, I had to scale like 1 trillionth or something like that, only to get to Mars. Couldn't even get past Mars.
Wow.
Yeah, I
So
had
yeah,
a
so
presentation.
even if it's,
I had a
so even if I-
presentation how big is big and how small is small. If you try that with an extrude and you do an extreme number, the SolidWorks comes back with a window that shows you the range of acceptable numbers.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's right.
basically, it's going to be 10 to the 11th of your smallest unit, I think, is what it came out to be. So,
Yeah, so back in
100.
the middle 2000s, the official range was extended to be a nanometer to a kilometer.
Ah.
It was a ton of work to get down to nanometer.
When did that change, John?
2002 timeframe, around there. 2002 to 2004.
No, I'm showing my age then. Yep, that's new to me.
So what I found out is if I made a cylinder that was 1
You want the screen?
kilometer across, and then put that into an assembly and patterned it out, I could take it out, or even if I just put 2 in there, if I mated the center or the right plane to the right plane and set that dimension, I could take that dimension all the way to 100 kilometers before it would fail. But that means that the outside edges hang at least a half a kilometer out on either side. So my total length of my model is now more than 100 kilometers, which is technically the biggest dimension that's allowed. But I can get up to 101 kilometers in dimension.
and I've just discovered that if I pattern my 500 meter body in a part just by 50 meters, so the total is 550, it says doesn't fit inside the limit, even though the limit should be 1,000.
Right.
So I think
This is outside of a cubic bounding block. Maybe it, but if you went the other way, away from the origin, it might let you.
oh, I see. So starting at the origin, I can't get farther than 500 meters
Right.
away. Gotcha.
And now Cam brings up a good point about the assemblies. So you can't tell it to make a pattern or move it with things that are constrained. But if you take that block and you just drag it in your assembly, you can go out almost, I didn't even find a limit for that.
Oh,
But
Right.
you can't constrain it. It's just a free drag out into space.
Now, when you did that, did it give you any sort of unsolvable error like it does in a sketch?
When you tried to constrain it with a pattern or something, yes.
Right, but as long as it's floating, it doesn't do anything like that.
Right. I guess it doesn't worry about the numbers because you haven't given it a number. So it doesn't know it's too big.
Cool.
you know, so I wonder if like you tried using a distance mate, give it a value outside of the range and check the box that says for positioning only, if it would throw it that far out.
Oh, there you go. I did not try that, Eric.
Oh, so that for positioning only option does not pop up in the quick mates window. Let's open up the real.
No, it'd be in the real mates.
Yeah.
Go off the
in
screen.
the main box.
And while we're going off on tangents, Dan, while you were trying to pattern that, you can also do a move face and get the limits too.
That's,
You could go like,
you can
500.
get around the limits, or you'll hit the limits.
So it doesn't matter how you do it, you're going to hit limits.
0.01 meters. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Huh?
Nifty.
So what if it's a surface thing? Can you use the extend command and see if it extends out faster?
Yeah. All right.
There you go.
You'll be able to do that, but you can't retract it.
Yeah, once it's out there, there's no
Be
pulling
stuck
it
there.
back.
So to answer the question about the for positioning only option, no, it fails. It will not even let me enter a dimension beyond.
Oh, okay. Those devils, they're stifling us at every turn.
Their surfacing team is synced with their extruding team.
See, that's why we don't have anybody from product definition here. You know, they're afraid they'll come away from this with notebooks
Now that's
full of
interesting.
enhancement requests.
All right. I think I broke it. So I did my 500 meter surface. Here, let me give it a color so it's easier to see. And then I extended it. I don't get an error, but it disappears, and I still have an outline of 500.
Oh,
It's there. There's no
You
error.
retracted it all the way back to 0.
Yeah. I went around. I divided by 0.
Are you sure you
Yeah, so I got
didn't
an outline.
assign like a rubber material to it and it just kind of snapped back?
Bounced away. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to submit that bug report later. All right. Shall we?
Yeah.
It's a good question, though.
Oh, indeed.
Oh, this is another Phil special.
Am I the only one that submitted any questions?
Oh no, we got.
No,
we
but I think
got-
the guy that put these in the slides.
We kind of grouped them by submitter instead of sprinkling them around.
Grouped them by time zone.
Okay.
These
This was
are
my
our
softball
not
question.
our questions.
All right, I'm gonna throw it to somebody else then. I don't have a drawing like preset. Does anybody else?
Nope.
No,
I got nothing.
got
We
nothing.
can come back to it.
Really? All right.
Yeah, sure.
Wow. This is what I get for not reviewing the questions beforehand.
I'm
right,
gonna
let's
have
answer
to
that one.
recuse myself from this one.
Yeah, I think you might.
Yeah.
Well, It
What
all
the actual-
started in the year
was submitted.
1988.
Long before there was an emoji for it.
Yeah.
Darn kids.
We were the definition of the emoji. All right. This is my question. Is anyone a theologist?
Well, I went to a Jesuit school. I took like one American evangelicalism course. So yeah, this is like the burrito, right? I mean, of course. I think
I
we
like
just
Joseph.
figured that out. If it was bigger than a kilometer, he wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Answered
Yeah.
one question once again.
There is,
Well, I think this question, if anything, is talking more about like the the file size or the number of entities.
It is
included.
indeed.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which, if anyone's
What
familiar
computer is
with Alin Vargatu and his power user challenges on the forum, he has kind of touched on this before. And I don't remember what the answer was. I'm sure we could search for it real quick, but it was quite large, like in the millions of parts, I believe.
Yeah, I seem to recall that thread of discussion there. I know in my own experience, I think I've maxed up at around like 75,000 components in one of our larger, fully decked out water jet machines.
Where's my salt?
Wow.
So I have. Oh no, I didn't open it. This is the largest one I've worked on. Oh man.
No.
Largest file I've worked on so far, well, opened from a customer, it was actually an Oshkosh military vehicle. Hey, look at that, one too.
Hey.
The native SolidWorks file came in, it's about 6.5 gigs, and it took probably about 28, 29 hours to open.
Whoa.
I just walked away from the computer for a couple days.
Yep.
I'm working.
Put an armed guard around the power outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess this weird out of date large assembly review isn't gonna work. So I don't know how many components I have, but it's this many. It's many. And this is how good large assembly review is.
Spin it.
I don't know, what are your largest assemblies that you guys have ever worked with?
Mine was around like 8,000. That was pretty small compared to these.
Yeah. I should check what my current one is. I actually know. All right, moving on.
Yeah,
I'm
one
placing
hand I
a
wanna open it and
traditional.
check, but I don't.
What?
I said I kind of want to open it and see, but I kind of don't.
Yeah, maybe not today. So after you place a traditional diameter dimension on a circle, on a drawing, I want to convert it to a linear diameter dimension. If you click display is linear, it switches, but then your dimension is at a funky angle. No matter what I do, how do I make it a quadrant-based diameter dimension?
Oh, I got that one, Dan. You want
All
to
right.
send it over to my screen here? Now,
You just have to choose to present again.
yeah, so let me
Nice.
go ahead and move my little preview window off there. Okie doke. So yeah, this actually came from one of my co-workers, and so what I've got here, I kind of prepped this in advance. This is the type of view they're trying to achieve, where the diameter was a linear dimension, and the same for this hole through it here. And then I just duplicated it over here with with these for starters, but you know, when you've got your radius dimension, you can certainly with your right click toggle that to, you know, display it as a diameter. And now it's a diameter. And then of course you can display it again and say display it as a linear. But of course, no matter what you do, it's like, okay, well, that's not what I want. So I've had folks, they've said, okay, let me put it back to a diameter. Maybe like if I lay it horizontal here like this and then switch over. And you know, yeah, you can get lucky sometimes. And I'm actually surprised it happened right now because when I was messing with this earlier. But the best way when you're messing around with these, and I mean, certainly when you're initially placing it, you can toggle between the two. But if you don't want to mess around with that by gosh and by golly method, again, just go ahead, toggle it over to display as linear. Again, you've got this whatever heck goofy angle you got there. Sorry about that. You ever wondered what is that dot above the dimension text? It's a drag handle, and you can drag that at whatever value you want. So that's the right way to do it.
Nice.
The wrong way to do it is, let me go ahead here. Let me bring up my layer toolbar. Oh, here it is. Let me go ahead and turn on the 0 layer, because what this person did was they sketched, here, let me go ahead and delete this center line. They sketched a line from quadrant to quadrant on the two circles, dimensioned that line, and came in and edited the dimension text to add the diameter symbol. Now, I think I saw Todd almost spit out his drink there a moment ago, but you know, hey, folks do what they have to do, and so I guess, you know, that's what we're here for, to try and squash some of these.
This hidden layer isn't even in a ugly color.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yep, because yeah, these are just linear dimensions. So if I go to my display option, there's no display as diameter option there. Those are hard and fast. And yeah, here's the same thing. True diameter. Let's display it linear. And again, there's my text. You know, just grab that drag handle.
But
And
you
if
guys
you
hold
want
some tight tolerances in the water jet business, Eric. Plus or
well,
minus 0.
hey, it's an Omax.
Yeah.
Even if it were, you know, I try not to say that 4-letter F word in polite company, you know. And if you know the Omax, the water jet business, you probably know who I'm joking about there. Yeah. And then also, for one last little thing about this, to control that increment that it rotates, if you go into your tools, your options, your document properties here, I'm going to go ahead and search on snap angle, and under dimensions, the radial diameter leader snap angle. That's where you
Uh-oh.
right on. And with that, I shall hand it back.
All right. We just got a question from Josh. Josh, do you want to just ask your question? I think that was a good time.
Oh, yeah.
He's frozen.
Joshua, come back to me.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so
Well-
Josh did pose this question to me on Twitter, and yeah, I was going to share it later.
Okay.
No,
The audio is cutting out. Hey guys.
There's Josh. Hey.
Actually, I'm going to jump in real quick before
Actually-
we get into Josh's question.
Actually, just
We were talking about large assemblies and how big you could be. So Cam mentioned Alin's SolidWorks power challenges. So during that challenge, Thomas Voigtman created a 10 million plus part assembly, and he was the one who won the challenge. So some people got close to that, but yeah, 10 million plus in a single assembly.
Yikes.
So I will post a link to that forums post if anybody wants to check out that challenge, or if you're interested in participating in the challenges, they're really badass.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, so go ahead, Josh.
Yeah,
Oh,
Josh.
I'm
actually,
sorry about that.
Yep,
I
go
think
ahead.
my Wi-Fi was acting up. So I just actually reposed my question in the chat because I wanted to clarify what manufacturing is asking for is what they used to do manually before SolidWorks in our old CAD software, where they would just add a stacked balloon to a hardware item to indicate a typically non-CAD item like Loctite. So, for example, these fasteners get red Loctite, these fasteners get blue Loctite. I know in the past SolidWorks added the ability to put in BOM items for those types of grease, Loctite, etc., but I've not had any personal experience using those tools. Just curious how other people handle that. The way that my old school mind was thinking, I was going to have to create a model if I wanted to attach a balloon to it. But is there another way? Does anybody else have a better solution for this problem?
Well, similar to your idea, what I've done in the past is actually just do an empty model, an empty part. It has all the properties that you want it to have, but there's actually no solid or surface bodies in it. And I just put those in the assembly. I'm curious to know if anybody knows of a better way.
Yeah, that's
could
what I was
use
thinking.
create
But then, does the balloon? Do you have the ability to show the balloon next to the hardware in that case without a model to attach it to?
Well, technically there is a model, and you can mate the origin or planes of that empty model to any part of the assembly that you'd wish to have it located at.
But what do you attach your leader to?
It's a stacked balloon, so it'd be attached to the hardware, for example.
Okay.
And then a stacked balloon that's attached to the BOM row. Could you just create a BOM row without creating a model?
That's what I'm asking. I don't need
So
the
you can.
physical model, but I need the balloon. I wasn't sure how to attach a balloon. I've always just attached it to a physical object.
So you can always edit your bombs inside of your drawings, right? Just insert a new row. But if you go and refresh your model or refresh the bomb,
Yeah.
sometimes mess with those insertions. So you have to be careful. Like typically in the past, when I've done something like that, is I'll wait till the very last item, know that my assembly is kind of locked, and then I add some of those random things. But I've done like what Cam has said in the past and inserted empty items, especially if it's stuff where like let's say you change the light spec or something like that, and you've got it in 30 drawings. Then you can just update the parts, update the drawings, not manually update 30 different bombs, which sucks.
Right. Right.
Steve Bukowski's saying add like a sketch in that empty model, so you can just hide sketches after you tag that.
Right.
That
So like we got a couple comments related to this too in the chat. Like Steve is saying he adds a sketch to the empty model to tag with a balloon if you want to do that.
That way you at least have something to attach to. So you show sketches and then you can, that'll answer your question, Josh. So you have something that you can actually click on.
Yeah, that's a creative way to handle it. like I said, and the last part of the question was how do people handle quantity? Is it ideally it would be nice if the quantity represented the number of fasteners or the number of applications of a particular Loctite or grease or whatnot.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it might make more sense to make like a smart part that you can drag and drop onto fasteners, kind of like, even if it was a circular surface or something like that. That might be more ideal. Yeah, because then you could just yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
My only concern with that idea, David, was that, I'd have to make it kind of smaller than my smallest fastener so it wouldn't show up weirdly. Then it would be hard to click on. And also, if my isometric exploded view is oriented one way, I'm going to not be able to physically see it always. So I'm just struggling to find a perfect solution.
Do you really want a quantity that calls out the number of fasteners, or do you want a quantity that calls out, how many bottles of Loctite you might need for that assembly?
Yeah, if Loctite was not the example, then maybe you're right, Dan, that we might want the actual physical quantity in ounces or something similar. But no, the number of instances what I was thinking of, so that like if I have eight bolts, it would show 8.
8 applications.
Yeah. You'd the really kind of silly way to do this would be to take your bolt, then make an assembly of the bolt and the empty model that is your Loctite, and then insert that every time you have a bolt. And that actually wouldn't be so bad, because what you could do is make that assembly and then replace parts. So replace your bolt with your assembly, and all the mates should just come in correctly.
True, but then I would have to show an indented bomb or a flat bomb, and I would get all the sub-assembly components with it.
You can promote a bomb row, though, I think.
Oh, okay.
Is that right?
Individual.
Correct me on this if I'm wrong, but you can have an indented bomb and then click a row and say, like, show as top level or something, and then when you switch back to top level, it's still there. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
So basically, there's no easy way, and I think is what I kind of figured. There was no practical way to do this, but aside from manually, I don't want to manually edit the bomb. Ideally, I don't want to manually edit balloons. Ideally, so I'm trying to get something that's more automatic. If we do have to delete a bomb table and replace it, I don't want to cost somebody a bunch of rework.
Would you be comfortable just manually editing the quantity?
The quantity is really not. We are, and the quantity is really the least important thing about it. The part number and identifying with balloons or something adjacent to each application is really the main goal.
So then you can still just have your one blank model in your assembly, and then in that bomb row, you just update the quantity from 1 to number of bolts. You might even be able to link. Can you link quantities? Like link your quantity of bolts to your quantity of Loctite stuff?
I haven't experimented with it, Josh, but in PDM you can add additional items to an assembly's bill of material at the PDM level. So for purposes like that, I'd have to dig more into it, but maybe offline we can get together and.
Yeah, so that would add it to the PDM bomb, but it wouldn't necessarily solve showing it on the drawing. Is that right?
Well, I think if it's added to the PDM bomb, there's a way that can get pushed into the assembly bomb. Again, we'll have to do some digging with it, but I've heard it outed for that exact purpose, adding stuff like greases and
yeah, they did that back in the enterprise days. Because you could set it by ounces and other odd units, like for wiring you could do feet.
Mhm.
You're
So
getting,
that was
it's basically M-bomb territory, you know, and I've always kind of stayed away from what I considered non-CAD or M-bomb items. But I'm getting pushed, and I just want to see if is there a viable option. I don't know. It doesn't sound like anybody's really doing this, or their companies are requiring it right now. Is that true?
Uh,
Oh, I'm definitely doing it. I just don't have a better way than you do.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
What
See,
Cam said.
it's bomb
well, and
override.
when I did it, I would do it the same way as Cam. I'd just make an empty part because, like, if I was populating circuit boards, I would just make
Yeah.
empty parts with all the, because I just wanted the custom properties. So I
Right.
was throwing all that stuff into that, and then I just drop in as many as I need. So if I needed 13 LEDs, I just drop in the part and copy it off 13 times or pattern it, call it good
That's
to
a
get
great
a
use of
good bomb.
treehouse too.
Yeah,
You just
totally.
Right.
reminded
But when it comes to
me.
stacking balloons, that can be problematic. But for everything else, it works pretty well.
Todd, you just reminded me of a trick that I used for quantities so that I didn't have to manually update my bomb table. So I made some kit drawings where I only wanted to show one instance of the item that goes in the kit, but I may want to call out, 20 of these bolts or 20 of these widgets. And I would do a pattern, but I would set the pattern offset at 0. And so I would
Switches on top
basically,
of.
yeah, that all the parts would just be, as many as I wanted would just be stacked on top of each other, so they visually would look like one item in the assembly.
That's awesome.
So maybe that's a way to handle the quantity issue. But
There you go.
Because we had one, it was kind of funny. This was a long time ago, but we just needed we needed a counterweight, and so we filled this tube with sand, and we literally had a part called bunch of sand just to get the volume and the weight so that we could get the balance.
That's great.
So just exclude from bill of materials, bunch of sand.
okay, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Right on.
Good question, Josh.
Yeah. And Kevin Bowman's got another question that sounds pretty intriguing. He's saying, what's the best way in the top view to show the distance various vertices are from a reference plane? And he gives the example, imagine you have a multi-stall car wash floor, and you need to show the concrete contractor how far above the top of the footings the quarters of each stall and each floor grade are. So again, Kevin, maybe you can chime in here a little bit. Are you looking for basically just, that God's eye top view, and we just want perhaps like a Z value displayed at each corner?
Yeah, just think about like an elevation map, like showing mountain ranges and how you have the bands, but just showing it at vertices. So it's like, here's your car wash, and this point needs to be this far above the reference plane, this far. I don't have any idea.
My
Yeah.
guess would be to create a side view that's off the sheet, and then pick dimensions. So I assume we're doing, dimensions from the top plane or some parallel to the top plane. You'd create those dimensions off to the side, and then you could either have a table or a note where those dimensions are linked. And
Yeah.
I think we could do I could do a demo here real quick.
Yeah, I was thinking if there's some way to leverage some type of like whole table. or
Do a whole
something.
table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start opening something, but I'll share my screen. Here we go. So let's say that in this top view, you want to know how, actually this is even a section view, so this might be even a little hinky, but let's pretend I've got this side view, and I want to know how high off my floor this, the top of this bar is. Is that what we're doing? So I could then grab a note, and I think it's this guy. Let's just assume it's this guy. I start a note, and then in that note, I click on this.
Oh, yes.
So then I can say elevation, whatever. Does that help? And then that could even have a like a different flag. Oops, let's do the whole thing.
Yeah,
You
and
could
I'm sure.
specify that, this means elevation or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm certain that someone far more smarter than I in regards to macros could probably whip up something that,
Oh God.
yeah, that's why I said someone far smarter than I.
Kevin, is what Dan just showed what you were talking about with the notes?
Where's the chat here? I've done it using reference dimensions and linking a note to each dimension. Yes, I guess that's what I did. I can't think of a better way.
Great minds.
And
You could
Kevin
also do it
saying,
as a
yes,
table.
yes, I've done it using reference dimensions and linking a note to each dimension.
So if you have a specific, whoa, get over here.
Kevin
If
says
this
it
is a
worked,
number,
but it's very tedious to modify.
Yeah,
well, I mean, as long as
but it should follow.
yeah, as long as your model has been updated, if I update this dimension, in my model, this will update, which means this will update. I'm not going to do that because
You don't want to blow up your model.
no, I mean, it shouldn't be too bad, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say. But you also say, northwest 0.1 is, if it's a named thing, you've got your elevation there. Sound good?
Hey guys, before you guys get bogged down in another one, I got to get out of here. It's only 4 o'clock here. I got to get back to work.
Oh.
Thanks for coming, Phil. Nice to
Thanks
see
for
you
coming.
again.
Oh, yeah.
See you, Phil.
Well, hey, thanks for coming, Phil.
Sure. Take care, everybody.
Thank
Right
you
on.
too.
We'll see ya.
Oh, my name.
All right, so I will jump back into this because I think the next one is another drawing question.
And there is balance in the force because Phil is left and I just saw Rachel York pop in, so.
Oh, and here's
It
Earl
took
too.
y'all 2 seconds to call her out after she told us not to, huh?
Hey. Oh, and she's gone.
Couldn't stay away if she wanted to.
No,
Yeah, right.
can't get enough of this sweet stuff.
All of this, right, Eric? All of this? All of this, Eric.
Right on.
Eric, do you have a setup for this one too?
Yeah, let me.
Very nice.
Okay, alrighty. So again, this was something that was driving a coworker out of their mind recently. So on this sheet, you can see what they're trying to achieve. We've got this very, very large casting. It's a little bit over 4 feet tall. And this portion of it, there were several very large radii machined into it. I've just got one in this particular example. But they want to call out this rather large radius, almost 105 inches, and the dimensions that located from its origin points there. So let me jump over to another sheet here. So again, you'd think, hey, this should be pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to go ahead and start throwing some dimensions on here. So again, there's my dimension, and you can see just as I zoom out just how far that darn thing is away from there. And of course, I'll go ahead and I'll foreshorten this because again, easy enough to do, so I foreshorten it. And you know, we can certainly drag these points around here. Get them on the screen and all that. I want to actually move that point there. So there we go. There we go. Well, I'll throw the other dimensions on there. Again, you know, there's my but again, what the heck's going on here? You know, I'm dimensioning to that center point here. Let me again, I don't know if you can see me throwing up my hands here, but well, certainly not. So let me go ahead. Let me unforeshorten this for a minute, because maybe I'm thinking, okay, they got to all be. Maybe if I pick them all three at once here. Again. I could keep struggling with this here, but you know, basically the thing to take away from this is if you're going to be creating foreshortened dimensions, SolidWorks, especially for radius values, SolidWorks requires that you actually dimensioning to the feature itself here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two. And I'll go ahead, I'm going to unforeshorten this one as well for a moment. And instead, there's a couple ways I can do this. One of them is, well, again, I'll just go ahead and pick that. And even though I don't have a center mark here, I can actually select that end point. And it will dimension to that point there. And I'll say, yeah, I want that to be a driven dimension. And notice there, it has gone ahead and foreshortened length the dimensions appropriately there. So that is one way to do it. I dimension directly to the end point of that dimension there. Let me go ahead and
Hey, Eric, before you unforeshorten that,
yeah,
try using the shift key with it foreshortened just to see if it will dimension.
oh,
Try that,
okay.
because that's a little, when you do radii, you hit the shift or diameter, you hit it goes inside or outside. Just try it, see if it works.
Okay. Oh, so
Foreshorten it.
foreshorten it.
Yep. And now you hold your shift key down and then dimension.
When I pick that point?
Yeah, no, hold it down right now. Don't pick anything. Hit escape a couple times just to get rid of the first selection. Go to dimension.
Alrighty.
Now hit your shift key. Grab that vertical line and then click that point. There, and then there. There you go. Oh, wait, what did that?
Yeah,
Went to
that's
the
fine.
outside of
Because
the
you
arc.
should be able to go into leaders now.
Yeah, right. So right click, if you right click on that, yeah, you
And then
That'll
might be able
work.
to do it with a right click too.
That'll work. Just pick the other one. It should work.
Now do minimum. See if minimum works.
It was minimum.
And then
Max will get you the other
there's
far
Max.
side.
That's max.
Go center. Try center. Okay, doesn't work.
Okay, well,
Good try. Good try.
But if we do let's see, if we do foreshorten this now, boom.
Now move it back to min. Does that work? Not really.
Well, it's doing something. Not what we wanted to do, but it's doing something.
Is that where it
But I
originally
have-
was before you moved the grab points?
Yeah. Yep. So, but what you can do, and this should work, while this is unforeshortened, if I go ahead and pick that now.
Hey, look at that.
Nice.
It's all about the order of things.
Yep. It's
I'm sorry,
all in the order of creation.
that's still a pain in the ass.
Oh, it is.
It is. It is.
That's this much code to say, pick it here, pick it there, give me dimension there. That's
Right on. Right on. So, but yeah, if you do find yourself faced with those situations, because yeah, what my coworker ended up doing was just putting the radius dimension on, and then a big long note that says this center point is so far to the left of datum A and so far up off datum B.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
gosh.
Why isn't Lorano here? This is a Lorano problem.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Where are all of them?
Where is Lorano? Somebody give that guy in Colorado a phone call.
I think you were still driving, Ed, when we speculated that all the product development folks were deliberately not here.
Probably on purpose, right?
Indeed.
So Joe Dodge just asked a question that I have a pretty good tip for, so I'm going to take over. So
Alrighty.
Joe asked, he said, I ran something along the same lines. We were talking about attaching balloons. Basically, the question is about how to basically attach a numbering call out to a dimension. Do you want to elaborate any more on that, Joe?
Well, we had some parts that we had made of, they were machined from carbon loaded PEEK. And we were having them sent out to have them CMM'd and have a report produced. The vendor that we were using asked if we could add to our drawings where we have all our dimension callouts and GD and Ts, if we could add balloons referencing what dimensions we want them to CMM.
So Josh brought up a good point that inspection does do that for you, but on the off chance you don't want to buy a new product, is this basically the idea you're looking for?
Yes.
So I don't think anyone here probably knows how I did this.
Nope.
You have to know a little bit of HTML almost.
Ah.
Click on your dimension and you go under your dimension text and you add border type equals 1, then the number that you want to have in here, and then /border in caret brackets. But the best thing about this is you can change border type equals 1 to 2 or 3
Nice.
or 4.
What is this sorcery?
Yeah, I thought you guys got a kick out of this. Then you can add a
Like
space on
that.
either side to make it bigger.
Does he float?
Dan has hacked it. We don't need developers.
Rocks.
Yeah, so
Can you
border
copy
type.
that? Can you copy that and dump it in the chat? That line
Yeah,
of
yeah.
text?
Just the boy. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's
And so obviously,
That's
there's an easier way to do this, but you can also just put this on the other side of your dimension. Get rid of that 1. So then you have that call out for the entire dimension if you want to.
That is pretty
I
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
Now the inspection, that's an add-in that you have to purchase.
Yes,
It's a new add-in. It is very powerful. I haven't used it myself, but
it's really cool. There's 2 different versions, and it goes through and it numbers everything, and then it dumps everything from the CMM into a form and fills it all out. It's really cool.
Is that inspection?
Yes.
Yep.
If you do anything with inspection, check it out because it is really slick.
Yeah, even if you don't make SOLIDWORKS drawings, if you just have PDFs or TIFFs, it'll find your dimensions and then assign them numbers, create a form. It'll
put the limit.
put your nominal value and your tolerances, and when you connect your calipers, your CMM or anything, it'll say whether you're in spec or not.
Is that
So-
the end goal of inspection, to connect it to something, or can you use the tool? And I'm off topic with probably what I'm asking. Do you use the tool for other things?
I've only really heard about it. I haven't used it myself.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just for generating inspection reports primarily.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then for the quality people to use it, then they can fill out or import their CMM data directly back into your form.
And doesn't it also
related-
like tie
Sorry.
into the MBD as well?
I believe so.
I think it's
Yeah, so
I think they're
all part of
pretty
that
tight
product.
integrated.
I don't know if it ties into MBD, because I think they were, at least when it first came out, it was kind of at odds. It was 2D
Yeah.
only.
Not sure.
I believe
Dan,
that was many years ago.
I like your HTML-ish hack.
Yeah.
That's great. One thing I'd suggested, if you didn't want to buy an inspection and you wanted to just attach balloons to an item, was to use grouping under the right-click menu.
Yeah, I think
But
you can do that.
does anybody know a better way to do that? Like I've never found any keyboard shortcut or any other easy way, like a function key to group something. I know once
if you
it's
do the
grouped,
alignment toolbar, wait, actually, it might be a different
To
toolbar.
answer the question, inspection is part of MBD and SOLIDWORKS Composer.
oh, nice.
All part of the same pack. Well, it's in that, they call it technical information or technical.
Oh, right, but they're separate programs. I don't know if it necessarily.
But they're under that umbrella, that technical umbrella.
Documentation.
Yeah, they call it technical communication on the page. But.
Joe,
Yeah.
can I, so if I can go back to the question that you actually asked in the chat, would it be sufficient for what they asked for if you just notated or documented on the drawing that it was an inspection dimension? Because that's built into the software.
Sure, good question, good point.
But I think that they wanted numbers for each one, so you could call them
Yeah,
out.
they were specifically
Oh, okay.
asking for numbers.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
a manual process, but
I mean,
Numbering the dimensions. Okay.
yeah, so I mean,
So how do
I
you-
wasn't sure how to do it, so what I did is I put a balloon, as a text, and just put the numbers
Gotcha.
next to each one, and then of course it's not attached or anything, so you get that whole deal too.
yeah, and I don't think you can group something to a dimension. I remember trying this, I think.
Yeah, I was trying and I couldn't get it to work.
I don't know why
It
it's
would
not
be-
allowing that, because I do that all the time with like revision balloons, for example. Maybe it only works with the revision symbols. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can do it with revisions, but for some reason, when I added, a single balloon with a number in it, I couldn't get it to attach.
Rather than do it as a balloon, do it as a note, and then you can add a border to it to put the circle around it. And I think then you can link those two together,
Okay.
group them together.
You can.
Maybe I have to be in the same view. Maybe that's one of the problems. I was out in space instead of in a
Oh,
view.
that's exactly what it was. Yeah,
Yeah, so can I do?
and that same problem happens with revision
And of
symbols,
course, the
right?
attachment command is only in like some things and not others. All right. So I've got a note in the right view. I've got balloon in the right view, which is attached to nothing, and I've got a rev symbol. So let's try this first. Yeah, so here's the group. Now it applies.
Yep. You gotta
Group is over
grab
here.
them both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is, group.
And you can put a circular border around it around the note if you so choose.
Yeah, so it's got to be in the same view. So here, border, circle. Then if I want, yeah, I can group that with a note or a regular balloon, I guess.
Yeah, it works. It works. I don't know. I don't like the task of having to group everything, grab everything, and doing all that right clicking, but
No,
that's
yeah.
Yeah, that was my question. That is that, you know, when you to do it is it's kind of tedious and things move around, which one tip I have for moving things around after they're grouped is the Alt key will allow you to independently move an object while retaining the grouping, which is nice.
that's a Microsoft function. You could do that in PowerPoint, I think, too.
Okay, cool. But I've never found a good way, an easy way to group things. So like I use it all the time for revision symbols. And I run into that same problem Dan did, where if you don't actually drop it inside the view first, then you can't group it.
Yeah,
Right.
pain.
It seems like you should just be able to drag it over a dimension and auto kind of append it, or attach
Kind
it.
of like
but
when you're using GTOL or
Yeah.
GT, right? When you bring it close to a symbol or a text, it attaches itself. Or
Right.
dimension.
You got it. Yeah.
Before we move on, Dan,
Well, I
can
think
I share my
the
screen?
answer of how that works is how what we just saw Dan do should work as well.
But I like that it would actually use the group function, because it is nice to be able to kind of freeform move that around where you want it. You don't always want it below or to the side or directly.
And another trick, if you don't mind it in front, is preceding the dimension in brackets. So look at the dimension property manager.
So I just wanted to quickly, I'm not trying to interrupt, but I was just wondering if this would suffice, if this was something that you were looking for, because kind of using the Dan's border type trick and then putting the balloon number in there, selecting this for inspection dimension, is that?
Yeah, I mean, even that'll work, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a little quicker doing it that way.
And then all you have to do is just copy everything out of dimension text, that box, paste it into the next one. Even if the dimension's different, obviously it'll update and just change your number.
And you might even be able to use the favorites and then just change it.
That's even better.
Yeah, actually, you could use the string as a favorite. Am I right by that? So you could
save that under the star button.
Favorite string, right? And then have it at your disposal anytime you want it.
There you go.
Bingo, we did it.
Who gets who mentioned the favorite? Because you get a up click, you get a star. What do they call that?
It's called a beer, Ed. I want a beer.
It's called a beer.
I've got one, but I just drank it, so.
All right,
Mine's empty too.
Yeah, I got another one down here.
Oh, thank you, guys.
I'll be right back.
Who has pizza?
Oh, and why aren't you sharing?
Virtual pizza.
Virtual pizza.
All right,
Because we have decided that consuming pizza makes you a part of that user group.
Right.
If somebody's got a beer, just pour it right in there. Just.
You want some of mine?
Yeah.
So on my screen, it'd have to be Michael.
Stop! You're filling it up too much. Stop it.
Too much head.
Josh, you're above me, so.
Local. Here you go. Local Cincinnati beer. Ready?
Ooh.
Rachel just posted on the text that Murano is no longer on the 3DX or shifted to 3DX.
I want to fry my keyboard down.
Oh,
Sorry.
man.
Yeah, it's Mark Lieza now that's doing the Marco Lieza is doing the drawings.
Marco did it before too, so it's not new to him, right? So
I might have had him as a beta testing guy at World once. We talked a lot about drawings more than we talked about whatever it was he was testing me on.
yeah, Marco's awesome. He's also a pool shark, so be careful. He took me for a run for my money once.
If he took you a run for his money, he must be good.
No kidding.
You're a sleeper when it comes to pool.
Moving on. Do you remember who submitted this? I don't remember.
Car Talk. Eric knows what that means.
Yeah.
I've got that one. Dan,
You got that one?
The demo for that one.
Car Talk.
I don't read the question. I always have trouble using the section view tool. Draw my section view lines the way I learned back in '95. So this narrows it down to who submitted it. But when I make an offset section, it comes out weird. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, offset sections are finicky. So I'm going to throw to Eric. Actually, apparently I don't need to throw. You could just take it. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, Cam just stole it from me at some point.
I realized I could after I asked.
Yeah, because I did not hear you.
You, Todd. I think you like
Oh,
the 90 minute. You like
yes,
the
I
90.
do.
Cam, you like the 90 minute?
I do. I like all the IPAs they make. I very rarely made an IPA I didn't like though.
Okay, all right.
Speaking of that, I gotta go get one. I'll be right back.
It's only fitting that since my question, hey, how's my audio sound?
Good.
Oh, okay, because through my headphones, I feel like I'm talking in a tunnel, but okay, I'll deal. It's me. I'll take my meds and I'll be fine in a few minutes. Okay.
That's what Cam went to get.
I might have.
Yeah.
TMI, Eric, TMI.
Right on. Okay, so it's only fitting that since this question references 95, if this was actually one of the first parts I modeled up way back in SolidWorks 95. I think if you looked at some of the feature properties, you'd see some of these features date to like July of 96 or something like that. But anyhow, so a few weeks back, one of my coworkers, actually two of them, they almost came to blows. Actually, it'd be longer than that because it was pre-COVID. But yeah, a couple folks almost came to blows because there's an offset section on the drawing, and my example is going to be hyper exaggerated, but there was just a hint of a jog in the cutting plane line to pick up a couple features in one fell swoop, and the numbers that were showing up on the drawing were just like, that can't be right if you measured everything up. And you might recall several years back when they introduced the section view tool that if I start my section view, and unlike the theoretical person in my question, I do know how to use the section view assistant here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start my section view, and then I want an offset in it. So I'm going to say, starting right about here. And there's my cutting plane. I'll say, yeah, I dig it. And again, you can see this. It creates it correctly. Everything is lined up appropriately and all that. So again, just quick steps. So that's the first half of my question. That's how you use it correctly. If you just follow the prompts, it will behave for you. But again, I'm going to go ahead and undo that. And now I'm going to travel back in time and do it old school. Again, I'm going to grab my...
You're going to create a sketch line.
I'm going to... Sweet Jiminy, yes. I'm going to come down through there, and then I'm going to jog over here.
But Eric, those are solid lines.
Those are solid lines. Yes, they are, because, I'm also not paying attention to stuff here. Again, I'm trying to do it as wrong as possible here. So I'll start my section view, and by golly, look at that. There's my section view. And again, like I said, it's hyper exaggerated, but yeah, this is definitely a lot wider than my roughly 100 millimeters here. All righty. So again, what's going on? And again, like I said, literally these people, they were so angry at one another. You modeled it wrong. No, you made the view wrong. Just bicker. And so again, perfect.
Please tell me you told them that it was thermal expansion.
Holy
well,
thermals. What are they?
They were getting pretty heated, so I that would be a valid thing here. But again, show of virtual hands. How many of you ignore all the warning messages that pop up and just always check the box that says, don't show me this again? Oh, yep. Well, okay.
I know better
there's
than you.
Well,
There's
no,
a very important
it's the
warning
infamous.
message.
You get the toy Christmas morning, and you just build it without the instructions.
Totally.
Instructions are just another person's opinion.
See?
Exactly.
More of a guideline, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Not to blow up my answer for later, but I need those dialogues to come back every couple of years just to make sure I didn't dismiss something I want back.
Yeah, there should be a snooze instead of a never tell me again.
there
Yeah.
should be.
So
There should be under the
make 'em come back every 2
messages,
years.
errors and warnings portion of the options. There should be a flood all these back in with a new install. You know, they're there for a reason. And so whoever was using this computer, yeah, admitted me, they dismiss the box that warns us about the new section view functionality. So I'm going to bring that message back, and I'm going to delete this one more time, and I'm going to
Don't
do
delete
that
the
same
sketch.
thing again. Yeah. All right, here, let me delete. Yeah, again, I'm lazy. Okay. So again, I'll go ahead and create my section view. Oh yeah, nope, my bad. I should have gone one more step here.
Okay, delete the sketch.
There
I want to keep the sketch. I just want to get rid of the line.
There you go.
We knew you could do it.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, it's been since '95. All right, so yeah, here's that nag message.
Foreshortened.
Legacy foreshortened. So do you want the, and again, wording is so important. Do you want to create a standard section view? You would think that's what you'd want, but if you pick that, you're going to get the wonky one. You want the legacy foreshortened one. But there is a way. There is a way. Okay. So again.
No, don't delete it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Fudge. I did it again. Britney Spears syndrome.
Undo.
Oh, shit. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry.
Everybody drink.
I'm gonna go into a convulsion, Eric, if you keep deleting undo.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's a little OG right there, Sierra Nevada. Very nice. Very nice.
Brewski.
Brewski.
You guys are making me thirsty.
You started it.
Down here.
Okay. So, section view. I will create the standard one. It gives me the wrong view. So, how do I fix this? Again, I'm going to edit my sketch. And this jog, I'm going to make it for construction.
Love that.
Yep.
Look at that.
Oh,
yes.
Pulls your fanny out of the fire every time. So yeah, just so long as your jogs are construction lines, it will heal itself there.
You taught an old dog a new trick, Eric. Thank you.
That's a good
Right
one.
on. Always happy to help.
That means it's a successful night.
You're not old, Joe.
Right on. So let me hand it back.
All right, I'm stealing it back.
I wondered why people were talking about, oh, it's a solid line. I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't it supposed to be a solid line?
Not that one spot.
Not that one spot.
Actually, originally they were solid line. They were center lines that you would sketch.
I think you could do either or.
I've never done that. Yeah, it's always been solid.
Well, actually, let me have the screen back for just a moment.
Yeah, take it.
Sure.
See, the construction allows it to leak through.
There we go.
Basically.
It's under construction.
Well, it's not a real line. It doesn't calculate the distance.
See, Eric, just, yeah, there you go. There we go.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Yeah, so on this sheet so again, these, like I said, these drawing views are probably from sometime in 95 or 96 here. But again, if I go ahead and I'll edit this sketch, you'll see that all is a construction line. I'm gonna go ahead and exit this.
Huh.
And that create a section line from the sketch.
Interesting.
Well, now you're in trouble.
Yep. And then it defaults back to what the view had been before. But yeah, at some point, and again, I forget when they introduced that section line assistant. I think that's when they toggled it to your.
Interesting.
You need to have solid lines for your cut and clean line sketch. All right.
So Eric,
yeah.
While you're on section views, you mentioned that the section view tool that you're versed in. I've always continued to do it this kind of legacy old school way because I get frustrated that the tool, oftentimes I see in other people's drawings and my own when I've tried it, don't always like create a relationship to a feature that I'm trying to section through, and so things can tend to move on you. What's the trick for getting that to actually add a coincident relationship to the center of a hole, for example?
What you can see what I did here, and again, this is another trick from way back in the day. Also, I just put some sketch points there, but you shouldn't even have to do that. I come back here. Let me lose these points here. I'll start it here.
Yeah, it knows.
Yeah,
Watch your pointer.
it'll snap. Yeah, just watch your pointer. So it's hitting.
So if you click on that center point, is it actually creating a relationship? If you go and edit the sketch now, will you see a relationship there?
Yeah, you'd have to delete that before you can remove it.
Because you saw the yellow box.
Yeah.
As long as that box is yellow, it adds the relationship.
So what I'm seeing with ones that are underdefined are people aren't clicking on the actual point. They're maybe just snapping to the center and letting go.
They might be close, and like if Eric moves around, you can see how it's white. If it's white, it's not going to add it. As soon as it turns yellow, it adds it.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Boom.
Because the old school ways, you had to create the points to create the relationship.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But you could also, go in
thing.
and edit the sketch. Sorry, but you
Right,
could
that's
also
what
go in and
I
edit
hear a
that
lot of-
sketch too and constrain it.
Yeah, and I hear
could,
that's
you
what I
could.
typically do if I'm fixing someone else's drawing, and I've heard other people say that too. I always go in and edit my sketch to make sure that it's locked in. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
but why do we have to go through that step if we could just create the sketch first?
Because
Do
they
it right the
missed.
first time.
Yeah.
But to edit that sketch, it's like 3 steps to get into that sketch. Am I wrong by that? It's like
Exactly.
crazy how you got to get into. It should be just
Yeah,
one
it's
click edit
too
sketch, you're in it, but you
Yep.
can do it.
And if you actually, tell you what, sorry, I'm a commandeer one more time.
Oh no. Okay, sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Charge you
Because
by the minute, Eric.
this brings up something along those lines is that, okay, since I have used the section view assist tool to create this view, if I right click on here, you'll notice that it says edit the cutting line, not edit the sketch.
Yep.
So if I pick edit the cutting line, it brings me back into this tool.
Left side, go left side.
Yep. And so I could do something here like, let me Let me add another offset, just for silliness sake here. And that's wacky as all get out. So again, it brought me into that tool again. But if I were to do something like this, so I pick edit the cutting line, and it brings me back into that tool. But then I see over here, oh, that's where edit sketch is. I've just gone down the road of no return.
Ah,
Yeah, that's the,
now that I've chosen to edit that sketch, notice
it's
there's
converted
no,
it to legacy.
it's taking it back to legacy mode. So now the only way I
Interesting.
can modify that is to pick the edit sketch tool.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And with
Okay,
that,
one
I will
last.
stop using this. Oh, go ahead.
Wait. One last section view question. So many people I see put their section views on the wrong side of the line, the cutting line.
Yep.
Remove section views, move them around the sheet wherever they fit best, right? But at least for most of us using third angle projection, those are supposed to go behind the cutting line or opposite the arrows, right?
Yeah, all the years that I taught drafting,
Yeah.
it's always the arrows are pointing at what you see when you whack that material off. And so if you're standing, looking the direction those arrows are pointing, you are standing where the view should be.
So why does SOLIDWORKS allow people to break that rule? Any ideas?
There's a checkbox somewhere.
yeah, third angle, first angle in your settings for
Sure.
view.
I think when you first create the section view also, maybe.
Option there. Might be.
Sure, but if you can flip the direction at any time. Of course, if you do it wrong and flip the direction, you might lose dimensions. But what I mean is, if I took one of those section views that Eric's created and I right-clicked and said break alignment, I could move it to the left side of the part and it would not change the thing.
And even now I can still slide it over.
Sure.
Because it's still a true section.
Yeah, exactly. The section view itself is not location oriented. It's the line that's location oriented.
Yeah.
Yep. So I see people a lot of times just like put them on the opposite side, which I think could lead to a lot of confusion. But
oh, for sure. Yeah, the drafting teacher in me cringes every time I see it.
Yep. So anyway,
it should be in this view. It's proper here, but yeah, you're right. If it's on the other side, that's technically improper, but not wrong. It's still presenting the right view, the right cut.
Correct.
Yeah, so you have
SOLIDWORKS
to
is
click on the
showing
section,
you the
go to
right.
more properties, then go to section scope, and then click flip direction. It's many clicks.
There's flip direction right at the top, right?
Yep.
Or just double click the line.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But
that's
that'll kill your dimensions a lot of times.
Oh.
So anyway.
Right on.
Do you create a lot of drawings, Josh?
What's that?
You create a lot of drawings?
Lately, we've been making a lot of drawings.
Right on.
We're in the middle of a new product development, so I've been pulled into a lot of the direct work lately. All hands on deck.
God bless you. Creating drawings is not fun.
Thanks, COVID. Thanks, COVID.
All right, so yeah, next question. Someone asked, is there an easier way, easier than what, I'm not sure, to copy, paste a feature or a sketch? I'm not sure if I should delete or dangle. If I delete, I have to remember what all the dimensions and relations were, but if I dangle, I still have to drag the dimensions to reattach them, and then values change, so I have to re-enter them anyway. Both seem like a lot of work. So what's the best way to...
That one's mine also.
All right.
I get the screen again. Ah.
No, you can't have it.
Okay, let me just talk y'all through it then.
Eric has the conch.
Yeah.
Your Uber ride's getting expensive, Eric.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Okay, let me actually go ahead. I can use it in this part. This is a good example here. I'll tell you what, let me, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so this is something I actually put in myself because for the longest time, yeah, you know, if I'm like doing something like I've got this whole wizard hole, and again, I'll be the first to admit I'm as lazy as the day is long. So if I can save a couple steps of something, you know, like doing it on there, you know. Again, I pose the question, should I delete things, recreate them, or should I dangle them? So typically I'll go and I'll choose to dangle, and when I go in, and that's a whole wizard, so I can get there a couple ways, but I basically want to get to the positioning sketch here. Let me turn off my point here. Oops. Damn it. Darn it.
Golly gee heck, Batman.
Drink.
Well, I just switched over to my 3D Connection CAD mouse, so I'm still getting used to my finger placement on some of the buttons, so I sometimes do stuff. Okay. But again, these numbers here, they're fairly easy to remember, you know, 3/4, 1 inch and all that. But you know, if I've got a sketch that I'm trying to reattach, you know, we all know that we can grab that value and reattach it there. Only what's the big problem? It changes the value. And in this case, yeah, even I am smart enough to be able to remember 3/4 of an inch to fill that value in. But what if you got some weird number that's, you know, maybe, you know, 8, 9 decimal places out there and everything. So, you know, it struck me, why don't I do this or give this a try instead, you know? Dimensions also show up in the relations. You know, if I come here under my display delete relations, again, there's my point, and there's a line and it's dangling. I'm gonna say, let me just replace that. Now I don't have to remember the number. I don't have to drag it and try hooking it on there. You know, same thing here. Display delete relations. There's that line that's dangling. Oh, shit, darn it.
Drink.
I'm sorry. I am 100% reconstructed.
You have a square jar?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mason jar full of beer.
Hipster.
Hipster.
Yep, again, go ahead, replace that, and boom.
Learned something today.
Nice.
Yeah, display delete relations works with dimensions also.
I also use display delete relations all the time if I've got a sketch that I can't move up higher in the tree because it's referencing something else. I just filter by external, delete everything, and then roll it up.
Yep. Right on. Right
if you
on.
think about the effort, not to say Eric's tip isn't a good one, but if you think about the effort to get there, Dan, yours is just as effective too. So.
That's a different situation though. That's just like if I want to bring something up the tree.
Right.
Brute force.
Yep.
Brute force. Try flat tree next time. Go flat tree.
That too. I like that.
Flat tree is awesome.
All right. Now so now we're moving on to the more philosophical questions of the night. I guess we should have put, could God make a CAD model so large you could not load it? Rachel, you missed that one. That's our favorite new question. Could God make a CAD model so large not even he could load it? So yeah, I'll throw this out to anyone in the crowd. What's your favorite tip/piece of advice to give new users?
Can I jump on this one? Because I'm dealing with a bunch of users these days, and they're all driving me nuts. I think my tip of advice that I always tell, especially like students when I'm working with students, is like, you're never going to know everything. Don't ever assume you know anything. And just assume someone else knows more than you, but you can go find them. Like, you don't have to know everything, but know you don't know it and have a plan to go get that info from somebody else. It's me or whoever it's going to be. Because like this, like what we're doing right now, right? There's 12 of us up here who've got, you know, there's probably 150 years of SolidWorks experience on this call right now.
Oh, probably more.
Each and every one of us knows something different, right? We all have different backgrounds and stuff like that. So we also know that we don't know everything. You know enough to know you don't know. Not to sound weird and say no 10,000 times, but that's a big one for me. It's like, don't be content in your skill set and have a path to get more skills when you need them. You don't always need them, but when you do, you got to be able to get them.
Oh, for sure. I always tell folks, you know, the minute you stop learning is the minute you stop earning.
Read.
My big one is like, you will get better faster if you pay attention to the damn cursor. There's so much information there. You know, pay attention to the cursor, pay attention to the messages. Yep. And we've all learned that none of us pay attention to the messages.
Yeah, how many times in this hour alone?
A lot.
Gobs.
I like saying go through all the options, every last one. Screw around with them. What are you going to do?
When in doubt, right click.
Click buttons. Click buttons.
And that's the same with. And that's the
what
same with
separates us from the boomers. We click buttons.
Go ahead,
And
Michael.
that's the same with just spending hours. Just you can't beat hours in the software, and just keep looking. You know, more hours, more knowledge, more learning, and just faster reaction.
Yeah. Once I got my CSWE, everybody wanted to ask about, you know, how to get CSWE. It's the most common question I get since then, and I have to say, I have always told everybody, for each of the advanced professional exams, you need to go to that tab in the software and know every single button on that ribbon. If there's anything up there that you're not familiar with, use it, get to know it. If you haven't touched it yet, it will make you fail the test. And almost every single person who has not followed that advice has failed that particular test.
I have something tangent to this, because like Eric, myself, and Mr. Lord, we're of older generation. I won't call anybody else out because everyone else looks a lot younger than all three of us. So what are the kids? I say kids. Is it proper to call millennials being a 52-year-old man? But what do the kids do today? Do they learn the same way we did or we're doing now? I mean, is that a valid question? Because I don't see it. I got a daughter that's 18. Their attention span is about as long as my pinky.
Yeah.
It depends if it's engaging. I mean, I loved it the first time I took a class. I'm sure I didn't learn the same way you guys did.
Oh, yeah.
I had some, I mean, there was no drafting board, but I had some, maybe a third of the time was spent, you know, figuring out dimensions and relations on paper, and the rest was spent in the software. That's certainly a change from, you know, however many years ago.
I mean, I think for a lot of students these days, it like even just learning the software, you have to back up a step. They're all used to running their whole life on this thing. And then when you tell them they can't do CAD on this thing and everything's about to change, it kind of just it can shut a lot of stuff down. Cause like, I think probably most of the people on this call have like built a computer, right? Like that used to be part of the job. It's like, you have to be able to spec a machine, do all that stuff. And a lot of that is lost in the computer teaching and things like that. So it's tough for students these days, especially to your point about attention spans. They have 10 million things going on. I mean, I teach at a local college down here, and like the amount of, like, I thought I packed my schedule when I was a kid with sports and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, and half of them are working on top of that. So to get them to really spend 5 hours, 8 hours on a Saturday tool around in SolidWorks, it's tough. The time constraint is, I think, the biggest challenge for a lot of students. I literally just had a kid text me during this call. He saw me like speak a while back. A year ago, I spoke to him and he's like, hey, so you mentioned you could help us in SolidWorks. How about that? It's like, yeah, because he's a high school kid who's just getting some time because there's a pandemic. Like,
Yeah.
You know,
Good for him.
Yeah.
One thing I point my essential students to is go Google out the part reviewer tutorials and the Model Mania. Watching somebody else do a model properly is a way to learn different techniques. Crazy lofts and things you wouldn't think to attempt.
I think one of my favorite tips, and I wish somebody would have told me this, like Control and Shift add so much to the experience.
Yep.
But nobody ever told me like what the difference was, and I finally heard the best one-liner. So Shift enhances whatever superpowers you're about to go with, and Control lets you take the control back because it's not doing it exactly like you want to do it. So I wish somebody would have told me that first. It was super helpful.
I like it.
Button mash, Control, Shift, and Alt.
If that fails, try Alt, right? Yeah.
I like this one as far as a tip goes. Like if you have transparent parts in your assembly, you're trying to click the surface of it, you can't. We all know what the tip is there, right?
Shift.
Hold the key. Anyone?
Yep. Shift.
Hold the Shift key, and now you can click the surface of that transparent part.
Yeah.
All day long.
Or the opposite, if
out
you
over
check
the-
the option to let, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm still geeking out over the tab key to hide parts in an assembly, which I only learned like 2 years ago at SolidWorks World.
Do you know about the Alt key when meeting?
Unhide, right?
Say again?
Shift tab.
Shift tab
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's a new one that's only a year or two old. If you hit Alt on a face when you're mating, it'll hide that face until you're done mating. But just that face, so you can get like.
Oh, that's right.
So if you've got a hole in a surface, you can hide the surface and get to the cylindrical face of the hole.
What was that again? I have a SolidWorks model right over here. What was that again?
Oh yeah. Here, you want to share your screen?
Yeah. Let's see. This is NDA stuff. You guys cannot reproduce this.
Couldn't if I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're trying to mate, if you're in the mate command, just hover over a face and hit Alt.
All right, so mate command. Let's do that.
First, share your screen.
Am I staring? Can you see my screen?
No.
Nope.
There we go.
Now we do.
All right. So this is NDA stuff. You guys can't reproduce this. I got you all your words, right? Right? Got all your words.
I'm screenshotting everyone nodding right now.
Along with the model.
Recording, so.
All right, so I'm in the mate command. I hit my Alt key. I'm going to click this surface right here.
So now hit Alt on hovering over like a blue face.
With the Alt key down?
Just hit it once, just like you would tab.
It's locked into position, so it's probably not going to move. But.
It might be an option you have to set.
So what does it do? Just hide so I can see through the part right here?
Yeah, it should hide just the face.
Yeah, it hid the whole thing.
Go to your options real quick, because now I'm curious.
Yep.
Search for Alt.
Hold on, I gotta pull up my options.
Could have been Ed already had clicked that part.
Maybe.
And it went transparent.
Let's see. Let me go back into the make command. So I'm in the make command. Come on, there we go.
So click one face, just regular click.
Regular click.
Yep. And now hover your cursor over a different face and hit Alt once. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it went. Yeah.
I can
Nice.
make into that, you know, it's basically a delete face. It's not the surfacey body.
It's like a
Yeah.
select other shortcut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll
basically.
do
But only in
it,
mates.
it'll do it to any surface. Look at, I'm hovering over all these surfaces.
And you can keep going in and in and in.
Yep.
Oh, so you can keep digging with it? So
Yeah,
all
I'm just pressing the L key. I'm just hitting them all.
Everything that's in your way.
Oh, bitch.
Your way.
Bitch.
There you go.
Keep digging, Holmes.
Drink.
Sorry.
Cheers.
Let us sippy cup. Awesome. Cool. All right. What's our next question? Oh, kind of a same vein. What is something you rediscovered about SolidWorks that you'd wish you'd never forgotten?
We just touched that because the Alt to hide and the Shift Alt to bring it back was something that I remember when it came out, and then I never used it. And I was at a rollout and they showed that, you know, they were just doing something and they showed it. And I was like, ah, crap. I use it all the time.
Yep.
Oh, what was that, Todd? I missed that. Sorry.
Using
Tab and
Alt.
Shift
Or Tab. Sorry
thought it
about that.
was
Tab and Shift Tab.
Yeah, Shift tab.
It was Dan talking about the Alt that threw me, but Tab and Shift Tab, I use it all the time now.
Well, yeah, I one of my coworkers, you know, I cannot drum into him enough, you know, just hit tab, you know. So we'll be in a, you know, a Microsoft Teams design review, and he's like going, oh, let me hide this, and you see his mouse flying around and he's fumbling to find the hide component, and like, you know, I'm muting my mic and I'm like yelling at the screen, you know. The freaking tab button.
Oh, yes.
There, I didn't swear that time. I said
When people don't use Control Tab to switch documents.
You know what that reminds me of, Eric?
Yeah.
Remember the Saturday Night Live skit with Jimmy Farrell? Jimmy Farrell, right? Fallon.
Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. The computer guy, Nick. Move!
Hey guys, I never use keyboard shortcuts, and Steve Bukowski once in a while convinces me to do them. That's why I use the S key now. I've done that in my presentations. About, I don't know, maybe a month ago, Steve told me about tab to hide and shift tab to unhide.
What?
Yes, about a month ago. Steve's on the meeting here, but he's muted, but he can attest to
That was
that.
in SWUGN 3 years ago.
Right? Yeah, but I've seen it in my mind. I'm always like, oh, I don't care about hotkeys or those kind of tricks. So I fill
come on.
And then later on, I'm convinced that I should have been doing it all along.
Kevin just posted another good hotkey in the chat, hitting A to cycle through sketch options.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. I work
Unless
with
you
Paul
have
Many of those
projects.
tools.
Paul is a great SolidWorks user, has taught it, but he is definitely not a person that uses hotkeys at all. Hero.
Right, you want to talk about that? You guys know Tom Smith, who keeps winning Model Mania, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't ever let him show you how to do it fast. Nobody can do what he does fast.
Oh, like that guy's
He does it the slowest possible way, faster than anybody.
Right.
not lying.
Actually, so speaking about Model Mania, this is a ConSwug thing. I'm commandeering your meeting. So we were going to have a meeting right after World, and it got kind of killed because of COVID and stuff, and we never got it organized. But Steve Bukowski did really well in Model Mania using X design, and he got an honorable mention, and maybe should have done better, but he really is a maniac when it comes to
No, that wasn't the Model Mania thing. It was the other thing they were doing where they wanted you to do the X design. I don't know if anybody else played with that.
In the Model Mania area.
Yeah. We had two different Model Manias. Yeah.
Right, it was right next to it. Yeah.
Does anyone else use
but it
mouse
was
gestures?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. I want to give a quick plug to them finally updating the mouse gesture assignment UI that I've been asking for a decade. It's not a huge
wrap my
list
head
that you
around
have
mouse
to
gesture.
assign an arrow to anymore. It's now an actual graphical thing that you can drag stuff into. So if you haven't used mouse gestures, and this is why, they finally fixed it like last year.
Yep. Dip back into it.
Yeah.
Mouse gestures divide a room. I ask that question at every presentation. I'm like, who uses mouse gestures? And it's like always 50-50. And you're like, okay.
Who uses
Everybody
more than
calm down.
4 mouse
Like
gestures?
West Side Story, Jets and Sharks, you know?
I even use mouse gestures in draft side.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
12. Why is 12 an option?
12 is a little too many, I think, but I use 8.
I was on a webinar. I think it was either GSC CAD or maybe it was the folks from CATI. Oh, it was she's on Twitter, SolidWorks girl, Amy Magani. One of the people in that webinar actually in their 3 o'clock mouse gesture position put the shortcut to the S key. So they mouse gesture to get the S key.
That's funny.
That's
Guilty.
Wow.
That is ultimate in laziness right there.
Oh yeah,
impressed.
Or efficiency.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, like the whole point of mouse gestures is to speed things up. And I just can't, when I switched it to 12 and I tried it, there was no way for me to do it quickly. I got the wrong thing just as often as I got the right thing, and I had to go back and move more deliberately. So I had to go back to 8, and that's been perfectly fine for me.
Yeah,
I'm happy with 8.
Whose watch model was that popped up?
Oh, that was me.
That's Dan's.
Yeah, so it's like if you took away the numbers, right? You have to be really good at reading an analog watch. Like say that skill set could be applied to the 12 mouse gesture.
You just got to memorize it. Boop, I know this is measure. Boop, I know this is mate.
So as far as this question that we're answering right now, I was the one who submitted it, and it was kind of because one of our later questions made me think of it. So I will give my answer when we get to that. Hopefully you saw the sample question that we put out in the email, the YouTube video. That's the answering that question is the one for me.
All right, let's move on then. I guess this is kind of the same question almost. What's your favorite overlooked feature / tool? I'm going to go first because I have the conch. I feel like because of when I started learning SolidWorks, I was able to grasp intersect because it came out just a couple years later, a lot more than I think most old timers. That is my absolute favorite tool of all time.
Great tool. Awesome tool.
Yeah, I mean, for master modeling, that's the basis of all of my models. I make one giant solid, make some planes that cut it up, put it into a part, and intersect all of it. I probably use it at least once in each model I do, no matter what.
Nice.
That's what I was going to say.
Aha, and that's why I went first.
For me, for years, it was show hidden components.
Yep, that's great. What I'm showing right now is a couple years ago, I've taken some blacksmithing classes. So this is what's called a pineapple twist. And I always thought, how the heck would you model something like that in SolidWorks?
Texture tool. 3D texture.
Well,
dude, yeah, now you can.
As the kids say these days, I'm so proud of what I've accomplished here that I just need to.
I don't think the kids say that these days.
Flex. I love the flex tool. This is nothing more than an extruded hexagon.
Yep. Definitely overlooked.
So basically, I did it in SolidWorks the way you do it in real life at the forge. You heat the material up, you take a chisel, and you cut grooves down each face. And then you twist it while it's still hot. Then you take that chisel again, and once again cut longitudinal grooves. And you also take your hammer and kind of pound the ridges flat before you do that. And then you heat it up one more time and you twist it back the other direction.
Nice.
The diamonds just pop right out.
Very nice.
I'm impressed.
Very nice. Eric, do you watch Forged in Fire?
Constantly. My DVR is choking on it.
Filmed in Brooklyn, New York. Got a big studio in Brooklyn, New York. Love it.
Yep.
That's why they're always.
The pilot for it was filmed at the studio of a guy here in Seattle where I've taken my various knife making classes. They did the pilot there, and then they moved the whole production to Brooklyn and everything. But yeah, no, so this is.
If I didn't live in a condo, I would have all the equipment to make my own all my own knives and stuff.
Oh,
my
for
girlfriend
sure.
will probably throw me out, but that's okay. As long as I get
Oh,
my making beer and making knives.
So yeah, definitely these days I've really been immersing myself and messing around with the flex feature just to see just what I can do with it.
Here's an underrated tool, a tool that we don't use often. At least I don't until I remember it's there. In an assembly, using the isolate tool.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like we live and die by that.
It's great, and then I forget about it for like a half a year until I get. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. That's cool.
Well, and Steve said invert selection. I love that one.
Yeah.
Pick one thing, invert selection, and get everything else.
Oh, for sure.
That was a good one, Steve.
Yeah.
There's an extension of that is if you're like doing an imported step file or something and you want to get rid of a bunch of stuff, you assign a color to everything you want to get rid of, and then you select or everything you want to keep. Everything you want to keep, because like it's usually the stuff on the outside. So you just assign a color to everything you want to keep. You then select that color in your property manager, invert selection there, and you can delete everything that you don't want.
Nice.
Little extension of that. I heard that. I think Alan gave that as a little tip in one of his large assembly presentations.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, some of the select tools, like, the select similar components or select identical, it's just phenomenal if you want to, like, boom, find, like, a particular fastener, no matter where it is, how many, you want every single, M12 lock nut, no matter which subassembly it is, boom. Do a, select identical, and then do, isolate, and you're just staring at exactly what you want.
You could. Here's another underrated tool, using the filter tool up in the top
Hey, stop.
corner.
Hush.
All right, it's time to move to my question then. Go ahead.
Let's just jump to cams.
Yeah. Where's my?
And I've got some stuff to add to that, Cam.
Yes. You gonna play the video, Dan?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, all right. So we'll come back to all these. Here we go. Is there a better way to search my active assembly for a specific part?
Here we go.
Now, can you all hear this?
Nope.
Why can't I even full screen it though?
Yeah, I've noticed it wouldn't work. Well, okay, so it's my voice you're hearing anyway, so I might as well.
It looks like.
You want me to take over and just show it live?
Yeah, I guess so.
Did I steal your thunder, Cam, with my last comment? Sorry.
You started to.
Maybe try watching YouTube. I don't know.
I did. It wouldn't. It didn't take me there.
All right, so I need to move this a little bit. Okay. All right. So the question that the video we couldn't watch was that when I was trying to find a specific part in this assembly, the way I would do it was to go up here to the search menu and change my options to the files and models. And I know the part number, but I don't necessarily know where it is in the massive feature tree. So what I would do is I would come up here and start typing the part number. And the problem is that every single character I enter, SOLIDWORKS is actively searching. It doesn't wait for me to hit enter. I hit 2 and it searches. I'm trying to hit 0, but it won't let me. Now finally, it finally does let me know there's 2 zeros in there. I go backspace, okay. 2. So the problem with this is not only is it searching the active model, but it's also searching my entire computer directory. Now, I learned this way because I wanted, instead of going through the open dialog or the insert dialog, finding a part that way and hitting OK to insert it. I really liked that I could, you know, search for the part right here and literally drag it into the assembly right from the side window. However, this is not a one-size-fits-all solution. The problem I was having that you're seeing is that it just takes too long and it's searching way more than I need searched. So the question is, you know, is there a better way? And yes, Ed knows the better way. It's over here. The top of the tree is this filter window that is so easily overlooked, and that's what it was for me. I learned it years and years ago and just forgot about it because I wasn't really ever using or doing really large assemblies until when I finally graduated up to really large assemblies. I had kind of forgotten about it. So now over here, the advantage of this is it's not searching your entire computer. It's only searching your active model in the feature tree. Unless you change the settings, you can, before anybody says it, you can change the settings to, you know, search other places too. But as I type the part number, it is actually filtering the view. Excuse me. Hello.
You know, Cam, after you showed us that in our planning session, I went to give it a try, and for the life of me, I couldn't find the filter. And then
I think it needs to be resolved.
Yep.
You're probably right. So
it's an option in the feature manager section of the system options to enable the filter. And you can only toggle that option when you do not have any documents open.
Well, it was working for me. Yeah, so
you probably already had it turned on. But for me, I didn't.
Right. As you type the part number out, not only does it filter the feature tree, but it also has the ability to feature your visible models, so that it will actually hide every. That's why you actually reminded me of the isolate feature as well. It's kind of built into this tool if you wanted to. I'm not going to waste your time searching around to find that setting so everybody can see it. But
yeah, I think it's have to have a resolved components.
So there is a time and place for this, you know, files and models search bar up here. But if you're just looking inside your active model, just come up here to the filter bar.
And it works in large design review, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, go Todd.
Oh, that's game changer.
Cool.
Huge.
Total game changer.
It's true. It's true. Cool.
So Cam, that the search, I always have my search bar set to search commands by default, but the search folder is a good reminder. I wonder if that could be set to search PDM, or is it only local folders?
That's a good
PDM
question.
search is so.
I would just hit the PDM tab.
Yeah.
You can search it. There's filter tools inside PDM, correct?
Sure.
Oh yeah, especially with 2020, you can get so crazy granular with the searches in 2020 PDM.
Yeah, I would go ahead and guess that as long as you are logged into your vault, it will probably search it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I would dip in and grab the PDM search instead of using that because it's going to be faster.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Does everyone know you can get to PDM search through the SOLIDWORKS UI, not necessarily always through Explorer?
Yeah, the task pane.
Task pane, yeah. All right. Move on.
Stump to chump. You just been stumped.
Who got stumped?
Todd with the quick fire.
He got unstumped. He knows his stuff.
You guys, hey, a little tip here.
Rachel, sorry to answer your question. Is there a hotkey that jumps you right into that search bar? Yes. Actually, if you hit the S key, it not only brings up the shortcut menu, but it also moves your cursor to the search bar. So you can hit S and then start typing, and it will go right there.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
the inherent nature of S. It's actually connected to that filter tool.
But you already knew that, didn't you, Rachel?
So if I say S,
She's a ringer. She's a
balloon.
ringer. She's a
So if I knew how
plant.
to spell balloons,
I actually had that as a tip in my presentation.
that's another good tip for first timers
Absolutely.
or learners.
Absolutely.
All right. So here's a good question, because this is something I'm working on right now. What's the difference between save as copy, pack and go, and copy tree? And when should I use each?
Question.
I've always been told if you have PDM, always use copy tree no matter what.
Yeah.
If you don't have PDM, always use pack and go, and save as copy is sort of for something else entirely.
I would agree.
So
Yeah,
the
so
save as
the
copy
PDF
only acts the same way when you actually select the options to include all reference parts.
Right.
So the copy tree advantage for PDM is that you can check in upon copy, right?
And it has some more granular details.
Oh, and
Yeah.
probably rename with your serial number settings and so on.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget what seminar I was in recently, but somebody was talking about that. Yeah, if their advice was stringently don't ever use pack and go if you're in a PDM situation, strictly copy tree. But I forget all the little nuances or danger points that they were.
Copy tree is because it's ID specific. If you go to on the left hand side there, I think you can see the ID tree in PDM. There's a way to see it. It might be an option, but every file in PDM is an ID. I think that's why you copy tree.
Yeah, with pack and go working inside of PDM, it doesn't always guarantee that it's going to pull through references correctly. And especially if you have a user that doesn't look through the pack and go interface to see where everything's going and that he's actually selected everything, copy tree in a PDM scenario can work a little cleaner that way, to Ed's point.
Yep. And it knows, it's telling you if you're trying to put, something, if you're trying to save something with this name as the same name, it's not going to let you because the PDM environment is one file name only.
As long as you have that setting checked.
I was going to say, as long as you use that option.
Right, right, as you should,
everybody?
yeah.
As you very well should, indeed.
Yeah. Does anyone not? Yeah. And then you can recheck in, you can add a comment on copy. It's got all the same ways to filter and replace text. It's just got more PDM friendliness. But also you can move tree, which is also a good thing. So if you're just moving folders or something, that's not something that pack and go does.
That's actually the cleaner way to do it. I think you can drag and drop, but move tree gives you, I think, a little bit more power.
Good reminder, yeah, move tree. I need to use that one actually.
Yeah, I just tried to look up what ID, how to show the ID in PDM. I'm getting everything else, but there's a way to show the ID in here somehow, some way with the labels, Dan. Yeah, I don't know which one it is. It's in there somewhere, or it used to be anyways.
If you have a serial number file naming set up, you can right click and assign that as well, right?
Yeah, you can regenerate serial numbers here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's basically PDM, copy tree, non-PDM, pack and go.
Yeah, that's
Don't
probably the
ever
best
say
answer
that.
for this environment.
Good tip. No,
I think honestly, this one question could spawn an entire breakout session.
Yeah, it could.
Friends don't let friends save as.
I like that.
I like that. That's a t-shirt. That's the next one.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, this one, I think we're almost done. This might be the last or the second to last. When I insert a component into an assembly, I like to use the rotate context toolbar to move the model by 90-degree increments before I place it. Probably because I've used various different monitor setups, I have now lost the toolbar completely. Has anyone not lost that toolbar completely? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it needs a leash. It wanders.
Yeah, it's all over the place. I don't know where it is. Clicking the checkbox to disable and re-enable does nothing. How do I get it back?
So this was me, and I'm not going to steal the screen to show you because there's really no reason to. What you need to do is go into your registry, and you need to rename the dialogues registry entry, and so that the next time you open SolidWorks, it regenerates the location for all of those. The only way to get it back.
Whoa.
This seems like a bad idea.
You shouldn't tell the common person though to go changing your registry settings because that could lead to disaster.
Yeah, I'm not going to actually do it. I'm going to see if I can find where it is.
Did say rename.
Yeah.
Do you know where?
That registry's big. You clicked on the wrong rename.
What Cam said makes sense. I went to a presentation at World, and the trick again was that renaming that, you're not screwing around with the registry. What you're doing is renaming the registry file that SolidWorks made. And when SolidWorks doesn't see that registry file with that exact name, it assumes it's a brand new install. This was, I can't remember which presentation I saw it in, but it was just what you said, Cam, for a variety of problems. What it does is it brings SolidWorks right to, oh, it's the first time I'm running on this machine. It brings it to that, because that's how SolidWorks knows that it's not the first time, is when it sees that registry file. So you just rename it. You're not editing, you're not doing regedit and editing a lot of stuff. You're just changing the name of that one.
And enter at your own risk.
Yeah, for sure.
Rachel's still on here. When she used to do stuff for CAD Dimensions, I'm sure this was right in her wheelhouse for detecting problems on people's computers.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, the best thing is just run RX and don't go into the reg editor. Like when you're looking for settings and stuff, like one of the things we used to do is we would verify that there was a setting that was causing a problem, and then if you really wanted to keep all of them, go in and like weed it out and find it. You know what I mean?
Back to that first screen.
Sure.
Go home, down at the very bottom, launch it, bypassing tools and options.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that.
So if it's a
That way you
setting that's
isolate.
messing you up, confirm that it is a setting that's messing you up,
Yep.
and then pass it off to your AE, and they'll figure out which one it is.
Yep.
That's what I do.
That does sound safer, but it's definitely not as exciting.
Yeah.
Once more into the breach.
I guess I probably should show this real quick just to show you.
If it's not your machine.
I did find, I know exactly.
So the answer to this question is
First, I got to ask Paul. Paul, define exciting, because I'm thinking exciting for you is a lot more than renaming something in registry.
Exciting is when you're on fire, or people around you are on fire, or things like that. Marauding armies going through your village. That's exciting. It's a Chinese curse. May you live in exciting times. One thing that can sometimes work on just dialog boxes that you can't find, it's a Windows thing. If you have multi-monitors, a lot of times when I go somewhere and do a presentation and I'm in a different setup of my computer and I can't find things, it's a Windows thing. Use the Windows key, and I think it's arrow left. And what it will do is it will pull windows that you didn't know you even were missing onto, or pop-up dialog boxes that you didn't know you were missing onto the monitor that is actually active. And like what's happened to me is it looks like SolidWorks is locked, but really there's some dialog box looking for an input from you, and you don't see that because it's on a monitor that doesn't exist. So you think you're locked up and you're really not. So that's, again, if it's a dialog box, if you ask yourself, could this be a dialog box that I'm not seeing because it's hidden on some unknown, non-existent monitor? It's I'm pretty sure it's definitely the Windows key, and I think it's
Paul. That actually happened to me just today, where I opened up the settings, SolidWorks settings, talking to a user and showing them how to fix something, and my settings window was off up at the top of my screen, and that solution fixed it. The Windows key and arrow keys.
Yep. If you hit Windows Tab, at least in Windows 10, it'll just make all of your windows tiled. Cam, do you want to do that?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see that.
Yeah.
See, I'm not even presenting that though. I'm only presenting a single screen.
Okay.
I think the other thing you were about to show, Cam, I don't know if you showed it yet, but the old trick to rename the whole thing old and then reload.
Yeah, so that's literally what my tip was here. So if you drill down and it was inside SolidWorks 2020,
Yeah.
then it's the user interface folder and only the dialog folder inside that.
Yeah.
So what you do is you right click, rename, add, old to it. So it's still there. You're not getting rid of it. You're not deleting it. Then relaunch SolidWorks. SolidWorks will recreate a new dialogs folder that puts everything back in its original location. And if that causes any problems, you come back in here, delete the new dialogues, rename the old dialogues to lose the old text, and it will go right back to where it was. Right. So, but as far as this particular little tiny window that goes wandering off, using the window and arrow keys doesn't work because it is technically buried inside SolidWorks, and it's only going to move the SolidWorks window around. It won't move this one.
Yep,
So.
that trick doesn't work for everything. I was actually surprised it worked for the settings window today.
Nice.
All right, moving on. So I guess before I move on, if I do Windows tab, I get this.
There you go.
So if you've got a little settings window or something that's not part of SolidWorks itself, it should, pop up here.
Up here. Yep. That's a good one.
All right. All right. So this was our video, which I posted a link to this video in the chat in case anyone's interested. And what else we got? I'm detailing part, and some of the tolerances disappear when I save, close, and reopen. It usually happens to whole callouts and whole wizard features, but sometimes with other dimensions also. What the Eric? You want to take it from here?
Okay. Yeah, this was another one that
Oh, come on, Eric, I'm thirsty.
What the?
Oh, what the fudge?
Fudge.
But I didn't say fudge.
But I did not. No, I did not indeed. Okay.
Actually, I love this question. So this was great.
This one was driving folks crazy. Here, let me pull the drawing up. So
Eric, were people fighting over this one too, like the last one you gave us?
it wasn't a fight, but it was more like a fella that has like my amount of hair was quickly working themselves to a Joe Lance situation, because I mean, men, we're not going to salvage these cats,
Joe's got a beautiful coif. He's well managed.
Stealth mode, yeah. All righty, so yeah. So again, here I've got a drawing started, and I've got a bunch of dimensions placed, and just for expediency here, I'm just going to grab a bunch of them, and I'm just going to toggle them all to symmetric right now, just to get those there. And I could fill in the values, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it like this. So let me go ahead and save this, because I'm done for the day, and I'm going to close it, and I'm going to come back tomorrow.
R key.
Yeah.
The other hotkey I know is R.
Tangent. I learned something new just yesterday. If you use the R key, you can drag a file from SolidWorks into Treehouse.
Oh, very good, very good. But again, as you saw, I just windowed and changed every one of these except for the whole call out to a symmetric value. But when I opened it again, a whole bunch of them lost their tolerances. Again, WTF, right?
Fudge.
Well, there's a couple things that could do this, and what it turns out to be is, in this case, I mean, how many of us, when we're setting up our options, in my external references, how many of us open the reference documents with read-only access. Well, in this case, this was the situation here, you know, so when it opens up the drawing, the part is referenced, but the part is referenced read-only. But why would only some of these dimensions be affected? Well, it's because depending on how the person dimensions things, you know, in this case, D1 at sketch 1. So these are some model items that were brought in. So again, they're linked back to the model. So if I make a change here, got to travel back to the model to get saved. Whereas these dimensions, you know, RD3 at drawing view, some of these are place dimensions, or what I call AutoCAD style dimensions that I just pop on the drawing. And of course, the whole call out is data mining the whole wizard. And so again, whenever I add a tolerance or something here, again, it's going to push that tolerance back into the model. So because I don't have write access to the model, and again, for these dimensions here, I did the same thing. I inserted the model items for those particular features. So I've got a hodgepodge here. So if I'm gonna go ahead and close this. I won't save because it's pointless. I'll go ahead here and some options here. External references, boom. That back on. And okay, so now if I go ahead and do that same thing again, and we'll go ahead and make it all symmetric. Boom. So again, everything's got a plus minus value on it. Now notice it's asking me to save the part as well. So in this case, it's a non-PDM situation, but I checked the box that said open the reference documents read only. In the case of my coworkers, it was one person had the drawing checked out, but they did not check out the attendant part file along with it. So again, they throw their dimensions on there, throw their tolerances on for the full call outs. And the tolerances kept disappearing, and oh, they were you know how you can tell a person's frustrated when they start really aggressively clicking their mouse with every you know, like just trying to drive that damn thing right through the desktop. Well, it was a situation like that. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so again, if you got disappearing tolerances or something like that, it's because it's trying to, you know, update the model and you don't have write access to the model to get those values stored in it.
Eric, I blame you.
Well, Daddy always said us boys weren't worthless. We could always be bad examples.
Trying. Should we all praise John Matrician for joining us finally at 8:30?
Oh, he's been here a while. I've been seeing that JM.
No, it hasn't been.
No.
I've been texting
No.
him, get your ass in here.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was our last question. So
Peace out.
Glad to help.
Did you bring any questions, John? You got to come up with something.
Come on, John.
you must have been taking all this time to come up with something good, right?
Sure.
If
How
we're
do
not
I
ready, we can always throw it to Rick McDonald.
What?
Been here the whole time just waiting to learn something, John.
how do we fix zero thickness geometry?
Go to a different
Wilkie.
terminal.
Move to a different program. Yeah. Fix it by avoiding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been here earlier, but you know, some of us have to, you know, do things.
Oh, don't even get started.
Oh, man.
Yes, you're the only busy one. Sure.
Yeah, trying to coordinate 6 user group leaders to do this has been
Yeah,
across
man.
the
I got a
country.
SolidWorks training after this meeting I'm doing with Taiwan.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Nobody reached out to me, man. I just had to like get it through the grapevine.
Through all the ways we've advertised it.
Got to be on the meetups.
Yeah, I made sure to throw it on the forum.
The meetups, the forums, the Twitters, you know.
I think so. The idea was we were a little bit worried about having too many people, but I don't think we're going to have that problem. I think next time we do this, we'll probably advertise on the forum a little bit earlier.
Guys,
Rick, I wanted to ask you, Rick, did you hear about this on the forum or from the user group? Twitter or something? Forum? Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to suggest that we do this at least once a month because I think this is very informative. I like the interactiveness. That's half the reason why I wanted to do this because I wanted to see the interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss you guys.
Right. To echo what Rachel and Paul Priest both said in the
chat.
This has been excellent. I love the interaction going on here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This has been one of the best virtual events.
Definitely.
I love it.
Much appreciated. You guys, I felt like I was back in early days of user groups where I was actually learning things. You know, they say if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. So
that's fantastic.
That's the power. That's the power of what we're doing right now. So let's capitalize on it and let's keep the ball rolling. You're going to get more people to come in. Hopefully, we get some new people. Because I mean, we can all teach each other stuff all night long, but really, this is for people that are new to the tool, right? I mean, more or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So we initially were just sharing this with the 6 user groups of the 6, group leaders.
Yeah.
And then we kind of expanded it from there. It was kind of a late expansion, so people didn't get a chance to kind of put it on their calendar way ahead of time. I think if we want to share this with everybody and say, everybody's welcome, bring us your questions, and even we might have to create a dedicated email address for the questions if we wanted to do them. But just keep it open, keep a running tally of questions rolling in, and stock them up to the next meeting.
There's definitely value here, so I say we capitalize on it while you guys got the iron in your hand.
All right.
Oh, for sure.
May I ask everybody who's here, what is there anything that you would absolutely keep the same way that we've done it? Anything you would change different? What are your suggestions for next time?
More beer.
We'll ship it to you.
More Eric, please.
I'm empty. Done.
That was fabulous for me.
Yeah. You need a waiting room that we can keep people out.
John loved every moment that he was here attending.
Cam, you're gonna have to personally send an email to John to make sure he goes, to make sure he attends.
Yeah.
Smoke signals.
Like that. I have to send him 5 emails to get anything done.
Official babysitter.
There you go.
Okay, our titles, we had Media Mogul and Crowd Control, and what was the other one?
Cat Herder.
Cat herder.
There you go.
Absolutely. Cat
Oh,
herder.
there we are.
Chaperone.
So, we've discussed reaching out to kind of some of the key people on the forum who don't get to participate in their user group. This would be a great way to get some people like Dan Pichlea on here.
Oh, John Schultz, all those cats.
And Rick, do you have a local user group? You do?
Central Texas.
Rick, you're muted.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a user group. I'm a co-leader with it, but unfortunately, with all the COVID and everything, we haven't gotten it. Haven't been active.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, that's what this is. That's the reason.
Nobody's been active.
This is us being active. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best we can do.
So, so I think reaching out to some of the people on the forums who wouldn't have this opportunity otherwise is going to be awesome. And we've also talked about like bringing in some SolidWorks employees, some people who keep spots that could answer the questions that we might not be able to.
Yeah, you might want to. I can help you with some of that because obviously I've got some good connections. Dan's got some good connections there too, considering we live within half an hour of corporate. But the other thing too is this is for me personally. I mean, I wanted the but I like seeing all the faces. I don't like it one time a year I get to see everybody, right? I mean, essentially SolidWorks World, or what do they call it now? 3DX World.
Yeah.
3DX World. Yeah. World. So for me, yeah, for me, that's just
3DX.
Yeah, 3DX, right? I'll never get that. So this is a good alternative. And you know what, guys? There might be a possibility we might not have a world next year. Slight chance that could happen. So.
Yeah.
In the event or the whole thing?
No.
It could be virtual.
So let's get on the ground
who
floor
knows,
and be that event.
Who's got the best relationship with Wilkie?
I probably live closest to him, but he doesn't even
All
come
depends
to,
on what you're looking for.
he's
I
come
think
to
he'd
one
be a good
direction user group. He lives like probably half an hour from where I have my user groups, and he's only come to one.
Yeah, well, maybe this is the perfect thing for him.
Possible.
Yeah,
I
we
can
should have
take
to
it
get
as an
more.
action item if you want.
Should we get
So
more
you need
UX
something from
product design people involved?
No, I just want to invite him to this. You know, I think this would be something he'd enjoy, and we'd probably benefit a lot from him in this environment.
I'll see if I can get him in. I'll see if I can get him to attend.
Yeah, Joe's got a
Awesome.
good connection with Wilkie.
It's
Oh,
going to be a month from today.
I hear they run around together.
We're trying to catch each other.
Right on.
Oh, this
And hey,
picture is awesome.
Love
Who
it.
put this picture up? Oh my god.
I think those are exactly the engineers you need in your life.
So I use this for my CAD class. It's like the first thing I show them. I'm like, if you can at least not do this, I will consider myself a success and you a success in life. Like, just
I don't see a
don't do
problem
this.
here.
David,
Literally,
this is a beating behind the woodshed. This isn't don't do this. This is a beating behind the woodshed.
This
No.
is
No,
thinking
no.
outside the cylindrical box.
Right.
Oh, nice.
This is
Yeah,
what
this isn't
blew
3D
my
sculpture.
mind.
Now, what if you used equations to make sure your fillets were always the same size as the sphere?
No, sorry. I would lose my shit if I saw this. I'm sorry. I'll put $5 in the swear jar. Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, this is what blew my mind in January of '96 when I first saw SolidWorks demoed. If you've ever seen the boomerang demo, they take a shape, start it as a square, flex it into a boomerang shape, extrude it up, fill it all the corners, flex it around, bring it back to a square, a cube, fill it into a cylinder, then fill at the edges of the cylinder so it takes it to a sphere. And mind you, 24 years ago when I saw that, 15 minutes after I picked my eyeballs up off the floor, I was sealing the deal to get SolidWorks at my college. So you might joke about that filleted cube into a sphere, but it is fucking mind-blowing.
Hold on.
Drink to your heart's
Wait a
content.
minute. That's F word. That's $10, Eric, right there.
That meme is hilarious.
I love
John,
this.
wait a minute.
That is great.
John Matrician sees a lot of this kind of stuff. John, I need you to comment on that. Go.
You would have loved to see the model I saw today from a company that we inherited. Move face is a great thing, kind of, but when you use it as an actual feature, like repetitively, it makes you want to punch the screen.
So we can turn this topic into things not to use, design and install.
Hey, I will do that. I would
Use
love
responsibly.
Hey, how about this? Could you?
Friends don't let friends move face.
You could do a whole thing around design intent, just in that one topic.
Yeah. I mean, my session at World is all about trying to win Model Mania, but I literally tell everybody, do not use direct editing unless you really, really have to.
Yeah.
Please.
So while we're all being critical of each other, we should all then have to send our first model we ever made and send that in for criticism.
I guarantee you mine.
You saw one of mine.
I don't know how many models I have, and I'm just working on some old models now, and which I did back in about 2005, 2006. And I just keep saying to myself, what was I thinking?
No, wait, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I have
been
those.
using this as long as a lot of you guys. I didn't even start doing 3D modeling of any sort until about 2010 or 11. And back then, I just grabbed whatever was easy, and I was using SketchUp. So the first things I ever did were.
But the principle of 3D CAD is at least within SketchUp. That's a good start.
Yeah.
It's the ones that like we have Asia division, and I got this model. Literally, the model's like a couple different steps and drafts and whatnot. The feature tree is, I kid you not, 300 features long.
96.
Because they just it's hack and whack. And then they send it to our engineers. All right, you need to edit this. Yeah, good luck with that, pal.
Yeah, you guys would laugh at me. I wish I had it. So back when I used to work for the Army now. When I worked for the Navy a while ago, I built, and this is one single multi-body model. It was the entire joint high-speed vessel ship. One single part.
Multi-body.
I was new to it, and it was full scale.
How many times unchecked?
How many times what?
Did you uncheck the merge box?
Oh,
merge side.
Oh yeah, there was so many different. There was thousands of bodies in it. It was ridiculous. I still have the model somewhere, but it would take forever.
Oh, you gotta show, if you can. You gotta show us that if you can. That would be awesome.
I will. I mean, the model's beautiful. It looks really great. I've done it in PhotoView 360. Yeah. An actual photograph of the ship. It's great.
So,
all right.
My son's 22 years old. The first thing I ever modeled in SolidWorks was his Fisher-Price ring toy, with the little colored rings that stack.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
My first
I feel
assembly.
like I've seen your model of that or something. I've definitely seen it.
That's funny. Oh my God.
So is the idea to reoccur this on the same time, same day, maybe once a month?
Yeah, like third Thursday or whatever this is.
Yeah.
It's Thursday?
It is Thursday.
Is it?
All day.
Yeah, there's 3 days of the week. There's Sunday, then there's Blur's Day, and then Saturday.
March.
Wait,
and then it resets.
We're not in March anymore?
Oh my goodness, who made this?
I need that model. I need that model.
Probably on Grab, but yeah.
Gimme.
Somebody's got way too much
have
time.
a show and tell.
Does it work?
Wow.
Yeah, it works. Hold on. Let's
go somewhere.
You have got way too much time in your hands, my friend.
Oh please, this was like living alone in 2010. Oh, why is it? No, there we go. It's doing the thing where it's like rotating backwards. But where's
So
the
can you
iris?
actually get the whoosh?
I can't get the whoosh, but I can. Well, here, tell you what.
That's awesome. Just having all the characters on there. I mean, congratulations.
Right. How long did it take just to sketch the characters one by one?
I mean, I just traced them, so it wasn't that bad.
And yeah, still a pain in the ass though.
Oh, what is this nonsense?
Good day, sir. You lose.
Good day, sir.
What movie?
Blood in the tree.
That's
movie.
Wonka.
Wonka. That's right, Willy Wonka.
Did it work on Windows Media Player? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
All right, on.
Dan, you've been using SOLIDWORKS for a couple of years, huh?
Couple years, yeah.
Any SDRC ideas, old users out there?
Oh, we got a guy at work still using it. One guy.
Oh, the gate's even locked. That's awesome.
And the lights are supposed to be turning
The
on and off.
best thing about IDS by SDRC was Smash Instance.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time I do it, I Hulk Smash.
You guys are like this. When I was at Deso doing some work, I literally asked Sal Lama, please tell me what Easter eggs you guys have in the product. And he looked at it and he goes, we don't put Easter eggs in the product.
Whatever. Please.
I'm like, you need to.
I have a screenshot of the Wayne Tiffany Easter
Yeah,
egg.
the Wayne Tiffany one, yeah.
Oh, where's that?
Ed, somebody at my
That was in like 2013 Service Pack 0, the About screen.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It had his initials, correct?
Yeah, it was Wayne Tiffany, 1955 to 2013.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
in memory of. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no.
He's a
He
good
pops
man.
up occasionally.
I'm still waiting for stories from anybody out there that knew Wayne personally. I'm still putting together a book for Josh and the family.
Nice.
It's a great idea.
Sweet.
Yeah.
When I was looking on the forum about, so we had a question earlier, John, where Phil Sluter was here. He actually asked, what was the largest model or largest part and largest assembly that SOLIDWORKS would do? And I was researching it a little bit, and I actually ended up on a forum answer where Wayne had answered that question. And it was, it was way back, and it's changed since he answered it, but it was nice to see him on there.
For anybody that didn't get a chance to meet Wayne, he was an awesome person. He was just awesome person to talk to.
I remember he was a thorn in the side of tech support sometimes. Oh yeah. I remember interning like
should be.
there was some forum post about like you guys misspelled something in your terms of service like EULA. Like how much egg do you have on your face, guys? And I was like, I'm sorry, we'll see, look into it. And then I think Suzanne Locke or someone was like, I mean this in the nicest way, do not engage.
Yeah. And it's funny because I have a whole bunch of screenshots from like back in the AE days, and there was one where it was like a beta, what's new, and there was a square and an arrow and something like Steve to put something here in the what's new.
Yeah. For anybody that's attended World back in the early days, did you attend Wayne Tiffany's sheet metal presentation?
Yeah.
He talks about he had like 300 different pieces of surfaces and sheet metal parts to make this one like table. Anybody?
Yeah.
Todd, did you do that?
Yeah.
That presentation was awesome.
Because he was the one that kind of helped me get my group up and going back in the day, because he was down in KC, I was up here. And so I used to go down to his meetings and he'd come up to ours and present at ours. So I saw him a lot.
He definitely pushed that sheet metal envelope. And I think sheet metal is probably a lot better because of Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we should all aspire to be, I've definitely found, I didn't think when I first started using the software that I would ever be able to interact with people who create it or have any effect on it at all. And then just one year, I just decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going to put in an enhancement request because I thought of something that I thought should be better. And I didn't consider myself any better than the coders. I just thought, they're busy. So I said, hey, when you guys start PhotoView 360, if I don't have, a picture or a camera selected or a perspective or anything, a little window pops up and it says, my only option is hit OK. Well, that doesn't do me any good. I can't change the settings. I can just acknowledge that I messed up. Awesome. But if you could just change the buttons on there to let me go back and fix my mess up before I actually start PhotoView 360, otherwise I just have to wait. Then the next time I went to a live product launch and they were announcing that was one of their favorite enhancements that year. And I was like, oh my God, it actually had an effect on the software. After that, it was all downhill. I was like, put something in.
Magnet lines and drawings for balloons.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Todd.
were you a
Nice.
composer before?
Thank you, Todd.
That's from Composer.
That's from Composer, and that's where I saw it because it was when I was with the reseller, and we had just started because it was still 3D via Composer, and I was like, "Shit, this is cool!" Enhancement
Yeah.
request.
Right?
Drink.
The tab key is also from Composer, hitting the tab key to hide.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Ah.
Yep. Although in Composer, it's a temporary. As soon as your cursor goes back over, the component comes back.
It comes back.
I'm sorry, the actor.
Here's a
Yeah.
little tangent. I was I don't know, weekend I was at a brewery in Boston area, and I was talking to some people. You know, if you go to breweries, that's you socialize. And I'm talking to this guy, and this guy somehow he asked me what I did, and he goes, "You use SOLIDWORKS?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I'm the guy that created Composer." I don't know I forget what his name was, but I guess they bought it, they made him part of the product, and then he jumped ship and did his own thing. But he knows
And that's
Earl.
why you used to hang around breweries all the time.
Yeah.
Well, he's hanging around breweries because he's got money.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Makes more
Money.
sense.
It was interesting talking to him. So
When they were still in Concord, I was up there one time, and we went to a bar, and little did we know that was where all the parametric people went. And so we were in a bar with a whole ton of PTC people.
and Todd, just so you know, it's Concord.
Concord.
Concord. You don't pronounce it. Concord.
I pronounce every letter.
Every letter.
Just
You would sit in fine in Waltham.
Just go to Dish Network, look up Dish Network Talking Boston. You'll figure it out real fast.
So what do you think? Should we have a CAD show and tell next time?
Have what?
Show and tell.
Sure.
Show us your coolest model.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's show and tell, but you gotta pitch something about it so people can learn from it.
There you go.
Yeah. I think let's see, the only person who shared their screen today that wasn't one of the 6
was Ed.
Chumps was Ed. Yeah. I challenge the rest of you guys to do something next time. Come on.
Yeah.
You got a screen for the camera? Do it.
You meant
That'd be awesome.
That's cheating, Michael. It doesn't count.
Down.
John's got a shit ton of RC stuff that I'm sure he could show surfacing with. That'd be good. Oh, sorry, swear jar.
Hey, that wasn't me.
My next beer is already gone.
Oh, you just
mine
don't
are
apply. You just don't apply a
Haven't opened
material, and then it doesn't have the tonnage.
Is that like don't test for COVID? We don't have any cases.
I think so. If you were to do that, let's think about that. If we were to do that, do a show and tell. Everyone, just saying, for instance, everyone might want to do a show and tell. You might want to create a list of what that show, who does the show and tell, so we know, have a 5-hour go-to. But we could if you wanted.
See, that's the problem we were worried about this time, and that was not the case.
Yeah.
I would say, like, if we wanted to do something like that, just have people send in a rendering, and you could just flip through them.
Yeah, you guys pick. You guys pick which ones you want to
That
show.
would kind of be a good filter.
Probably a good idea because, like we want to see my joint high-speed vessel, but I don't think we want to watch me open it.
Exactly.
We'd save any drawings next time.
Well, Cam, we could learn
Hey,
what
nobody-
not. That would be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's
tonight.
what this is all about.
What's wrong with a 5-hour meeting? It's good stuff.
I'm game.
I just don't want people sleeping during it.
Thanks, Rob.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Speaking of sleeping.
Mingle,
Yes.
mingle.
We're 4 minutes away from our time limit, so it's okay. John's gonna play us out.
Hey, John, take it away.
Play us out, John.
There we go.
Bass makes me sleep.
Can't hear it. Oh,
Oh, what, you actually want me to play something? No.
Yeah.
Give us,
Oh, hang
John,
on.
give us a little smoke on the water. Come on, play us out.
Oh God, no. Who's gonna do that?
On the water.
Is that a 3?
I was expecting the Freebird.
Freebird.
God.
Hey, you remember when concerts used to bring lighters And then when cell phones came out, you couldn't bring cell phones into the concert. Now you're expected to bring your cell phone because that replaces lighters in the concert. Imagine that circle.
I remember a concert where it was half and half, right on the line. Nice.
Thanks, John.
Good
night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks for reading, guys. Good to speak to you all.
See you
I'll be
next
there
time.
next time.
Good to see everyone else.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace out.
Don't have to go home. You cannot stay here.
Oh, you hang
Thanks,
up
guys.
first. No, you
Close.
hang up first.
3,
Later,
2,
guys.
1.
Bye, Todd.